Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Snoo with the Crew, podcast number 15, with Mr. Paul Brown.
Hello there, it's all too hot.
It's quite warm in here, isn't it?
You are dressed in jet black, mate.
Yeah, it was.
With your sunglasses on indoors again.
Yeah, with a Morrissey haircut.
Yeah,
Gotta keep it up, live the dream.
Adam Gattrell.
Hey!
He's also got a bit of a quiff thing going on there. It's about time you had that cut into a mohawk or something, is it?
Yeah, it's way overdue for mohawk.
You don't have to wear sunglasses in any. All three of you, actually.
Yeah, it's because the other two are.
Ah, dear. Where am I?
No glasses, Dad. Look at the dad
Oh,
without
yes.
any sunglasses on. Let's bully him. Push him down the stairs with the bus.
Fuck you. Right, and Ross Murphy.
Hello, good evening.
Ross the Bully Murphy.
Hello, and non-time specific greet.
Yes, despite the fact it is evening here, it's 1:30 morning in Japan.
No, it doesn't work like that. It's when
Doesn't
you
it?
listen to the podcast.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. Okay, do we have any reviews or listener feedback or anything, Ross, that you've seen this week?
We did have one, but it was my friend, and he probably doesn't deserve mentioning. Bear with me a second.
Why doesn't he deserve mentioning?
Because I'm choosing to ignore him.
Who is it?
Well, have you had a bit of a tiff?
No, not at all.
Is he? He must listen though. You're just getting yourself unfriended, aren't you?
Well, I don't think friendships
Losing another.
I don't think friendships that come from high school get unfriended in quite the same way. It's
No?
just a clicking a button on the internet. No.
Wow.
Right.
Perhaps he likes us more than he likes you.
We have had
Hey, dude.
another 5-star review.
Oh, is
by,
it this person?
Slim Pixels, or Ben Holdenby, as he's known to people around these parts.
Ah.
Excellent show, guys. Informative and entertainment. I like to listen in the bar. I'm not sure he does.
I like to listen in the bath. I can imagine that.
I also like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, although I've never been to a live screening. So he reviewed us, and then he told us a fact about himself as well.
Yeah, but that's relevant to a show from a few episodes back, isn't it?
Yep.
We did, yeah. So that means he's listened to a back catalogue.
Or he's just started
Ooh.
listening recently.
Yeah, either way. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that.
Thank
review.
you. Thank you.
Everybody else,
Thank you.
where are your reviews?
Yeah.
All right?
Does he get a Steam code, this guy?
He won't want one.
You know,
It's fine.
I want to make a joke about Steam
I'll
and
buy him a
baths,
beer on
but
Wednesday or something.
Steam code for his bath?
Don't, Chris, please, don't.
What?
Stop.
It's too early into the
Nope.
show.
Okay. Right.
News.
Do you guys like bloody Resident Evil? Did any? Yeah?
Yeah.
You like what do you like? Hang on, do you like Biohazard or do you like the Resident Evil movies?
I've only got memories of the first couple of games.
Right.
That's it, that's for me.
So you've not seen the films?
No, I'm good enough with that.
First
Okay.
3 games, first film and fourth film, I think, are the only bits I like.
Resident Evil 2,
Yeah.
Code Veronica,
Yeah.
and Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
They're brilliant games.
Code Veronica, is
And-
that number 3 or am I or
It's the Dreamcast one, so it's I think it's
Technically
technically
the
like
third.
4.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Right.
because there was
That's the one I mean.
Resident
yeah.
Evil 3 was the one where that thing keeps coming after you.
Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Which is the one you can shoot at the screen?
Not any of those.
Really?
There's a light gun. It's like a spin-off game, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember what it's called.
Resident Evil gun game.
Anyway, movies. What about the movies?
The first one, and then the one where all of the rubbish has happened, and then
All of the
she's
rubbish
kinda-
happens in all of them.
Well, no, after the first one, there was like loads of ridiculously over the top weirdness,
It's
and
a
then there was
clusterfuck.
one that was so over the top, but kind of almost fits after the first one
Right.
that kind of worked. So I was like, that's all right.
It's really recent since they've done the final chapter, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not
It's
seen
just
it.
like 2 months or something since
Yeah,
it was
I'm-
released.
Um,
Okay, we're getting a reboot next year.
yeah, of course we are. Because
What?
fuck it, reboot it.
Is that official,
It's
or
official.
is that
It
like
is
just
absolutely
rumour
official.
mill
So
bullshit? Because there's a lot of rumour mill bullshit. At the
no,
moment.
it's actually official.
I
So-
read it on Ain't It Cool News. It's definitely real.
Right, Constantine Films, the people that made the first 6,
Yeah.
are inviting director Paul W.S. Anderson back after he's finished with another Capcom franchise, which is called Monster Hunter. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys are aware
yeah.
of the game. But so he's doing a movie that's due out late this year or early next year. Once he's done with that, he's going to start on a reboot, starting again with Resident Evil.
Do you know he's
Wow.
Biohazard
changing his name to Paul W.S.M. Anderson?
WSM.
Yeah, want 6 more?
Very quick. I like it. The final chapter did really bloody well, which is probably
That was good.
it was pretty good.
Yeah, don't draw attention the joke. Just go, oh, that was funny. Move on.
So the final chapter did really fucking well, which is probably why they want to carry on with the franchise. It
only did really well because everyone felt they needed to go for closure of the fact that this bullshit series of films was definitely ending.
As far as I can remember, the Resident Evil movies go like this: Resident Evil 1, sort of loosely based on Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 2, sort of loosely based on Resident Evil 2 and Nemesis, because it's got the Nemesis in it. Then, from then on, it literally goes from, a little bit of a zombie apocalypse, next movies, straight up Mad Max, world's gone to shit.
Is there a mansion in the first movie then?
Yeah, I think
that's where they are.
Is that where they get into the
vault?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
and the lasers cut that man.
But then, like, they go to like superhero ridiculousness and stuff. Like the thing that I got annoyed with the games was how monster heavy it got after a while, and how it wasn't as.
It was always monster heavy. Giant snakes
but
and stuff was
the
pretty rampant in
the first and
game,
second one weren't like as monster heavy as Nemesis onwards. Like Nemesis onwards, you had like the ridiculous, massive, giant, over the top stuff happening more and more.
Yeah, well, it's got to go somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, but like I liked the first two because they were kind of almost traditional zombie stories with a sci-fi Japanese edge to it, which I kind of liked. And the films have kind of gone the same way. Those middle ones, like I haven't seen the last one, but the middle ones, they're like just insane. Like she's got superpowers and can run along walls.
And she's been cloned about 4 million times.
Yeah, she was 7. I think there were 7 of them.
And
if I'm not mistaken,
they've cast 2 lead female characters who are basically clones of themselves, aren't they?
Mia Djokovic and who?
And the girl from I'll have to IMDb it, but one of them's in Dazed and Confused. And
they look like each other.
And they both look like each other, don't they?
Oh, I don't know.
I've
I didn't know that.
I've not really seen any of the later movies, to be honest. But
wow.
Anyway, so the final chapter did well. It did 312 million worldwide.
So they're going to reboot
pretty crazy. So yeah, it's a cash cow, isn't it? It's a money maker.
Amazing.
So let's just keep doing them. It made half of its money in China, though.
China,
which is not surprising.
Really?
Or if it's got anything linked to comic books, computer games, or anything kind of cool and geeky, they just flock to it.
They do recently, like the last 10 years, there's been a big surge in popular culture stuff in China. I think since the way China works as a country and politically has changed.
Ali Lata and Mila Jovovich just basically are the same person.
Okay. What's Ali Lata look like? You got a picture there? Oh shit, she does look very similar. Okay. So yeah, Warner Brothers got into trouble for saying about Batman vs Superman that it doesn't matter if it's shit because Chinese will just eat it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Badly cooked noodles.
Yep. Is that racist? That might be racist. Sorry if that's racist because you can't tell really these days, can you? Also,
excuse me.
What if Warner Brothers? You can't tell if Warner Brothers are racist anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Talking of racists, though, the Dark Crystal is getting a sequel.
How is that racist?
Because the Skeksis are racists, aren't they?
Are they?
They're the Nazis of the Dark Crystal world, aren't they?
I don't know. I've never got
so
past
glad
the weird.
He just wasn't making a dad joke about Dark Crystal.
I didn't even think of that. Wow.
I was just whatever he's about to say now, I'm going to have to tell him this can't go in the podcast, mate.
Anyway, right, Dark Crystal, yes, it's getting a Netflix sequel show.
Isn't it a prequel?
I don't know. It's called Age of
Regeneration or Resurrection or something.
Shit.
I think it's a prequel.
Wait. It's called Age of Resistance.
Age of Resistance.
And there's a teaser trailer online, and we'll link that below so you can go and have a look. But I'm really glad to see that they're using
puppets
and practical effects, and it's Jim Henson's Creature Workshop, and no CGI, which is probably good news for Labyrinth, isn't it, really?
As long as it hasn't got Landstriders in it, then I can actually finish watching it all the way to the end.
What are the problem with Landstriders?
They just freaked me the fuck out, and
Really?
I've never managed to watch all of Dark Crystal.
Oh, mate, you should have been on the podcast last week. You would have fit right in.
What do they look like, Landstriders?
Giant bunny rabbit moth creatures.
Oh, yeah, with
Nowadays,
big
I look at
stilty
them
front
and
legs.
it's laughable, like someone in a bit of fabric on stilts. But as a kid, it shit me up so much I couldn't watch anything after that point in the film,
So
and
the
I just haven't
Landstriders-
got back now.
Landstriders would shit you up, but
Yeah.
Skeksis and the crab things were okay, were they?
Yeah.
How bizarre.
I find
You're
a
right.
leprechaun.
that sometimes there's just no sense in these things, is there? Yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
I'm up for it.
I've never seen the original. It's one of those things that I've started a few times and I was just like, I'm too old for that.
I'm the
now."
same.
If you go and watch the little trailer thing, you'll see a thing with Jim Henson.
Yeah, I've
Having
seen
a-
the
having a
big
little
beardy
chat.
man.
Yeah.
If it's a prequel, I'll watch it, and then it might make me want to watch give the film a go again. But like I say, I've never finished the film.
You should. It's quite long and laborious, but
You're not making it sound very good, Chris.
but it's beautiful. That's the thing. It's a gorgeous looking, and it's a piece of art.
You can
It's
say that
fantastic.
about Megan Fox. She's good to look at. It doesn't mean it's not worth time watching her.
But
So chucking a bit of misogyny to go with a platter of racism this week.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. People keep watching Megan Fox films, not because she's good at what she does, because they think she's attractive.
She's very good at what she does. Acting isn't what she does, though.
that's very true.
Mike. Yeah.
Right. Do you like boxing movies? Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah. We've got a British boxing movie coming, which I'm quite looking forward to, called Jawbone. Now, I've spoken about it on the podcast before, but it was the episode that was lost. So, yeah, Ray Winstone.
This is still coming back to haunt us.
It's only because, there's bits and bobs I want to bring up. But, yeah, there's a trailer out for the boxing movie now,
Rad.
which is... I will also link it below. You mentioned Spaced earlier on. The guy that plays Wheels in Spaced is in it.
Tyres.
Tyres?
Yeah,
not
it's
Wheels.
Wheels.
Yeah,
Wheels
tyres.
would be a whole other character.
Cylinders.
Inner tube man.
You know that guy on... You know the guy on Spaced? Yeah, brake discs. What's his name in it?
But yeah, it's like a boxing redemption story. Somebody, youth boxer, goes off the rails, uses boxing to get his life back on track.
Boxes his way out of prison.
Maybe.
I'd
Maybe not.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Not into boxing movies, Paul?
Not unless they're... I like the ridiculous ones.
Like Story of Riccio.
Like
Like,
kickboxer.
Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, Rocky
Riccio.
was good. But again, that was just ridiculous over the top.
What's the cyborg thing in Community that's a gag on all the sort of movies that Paul likes? Kick Puncher.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
That's right.
Have you seen Community?
No, I need to.
Oh,
I know
there's
a lot of people
literally
say-
two characters in Community. They're literally you.
They're you
Brilliant.
split into two parts. Yeah. But I do like Childish Gambino.
You like Donald Glover?
Yeah.
Good.
His stand-up, his music, his artwork, his acting. Pretty much everything he does. He's a bit like Jamie Foxx.
We still don't know who he's going to be in the Spider-Man movie yet, do we?
No.
And that's quite handy because that's what I want to talk about next. Spider-Man.
He's not going to be Venom, is he, Chris?
He's not, because Tom Hardy is, isn't he?
Fuck off.
Tom
I don't
Har-
want another film about a character I like where I'm not going to be able to understand what he says. It was bad enough with Mad Max. Half of the characters in
He's
Legend.
not got any lines in Mad Max.
Revenant.
He's got 5 lines.
Bane. Like... I still don't know what he said in Mad Max. I know he only had 5 lines, but I couldn't understand a fucking word he said.
I'll tell you, I went to the pub there, and I went there for a fight. And you fucking pussies, I don't know what you were doing. I come here with my guns, I'm going to shoot you the fuck up. Alright?
This is Hardy Boys.
That's right,
Yeah.
Tom Hardy in Legend.
It's-
One of
it's-
his ones.
One of the lines he says, literally, I've watched that film like twice now, and then I've rewatched a certain bit. I kept rewinding it because I just could not understand what... It sounds like he's just going, oh, so we're here for the man. Swear for the hand. In Legend. And I cannot
Legend's
for the
awful.
life of me work out what he said.
It's literally the worst
Oh,
of the
from
Tom
a
Hardy movies.
Sort of really squeaky version of London, where I smash your head in, but through these really tight teeth because I'm so fucking angry. That's what he's like.
True.
I quite liked him in... was it Bronson?
Oh, that's a shockingly bad movie. Every scene's the same. Gonna get in a fucking fight.
It's a shit film, but I quite
For
like the
like an hour and a
idea
half.
of it.
His bloody acting is amazing, though,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
He's fantastic. But yeah, so he's been cast as Venom, which I don't know if I agree with. At the end of the day, I think if they're trying to sell seats at the cinema by casting somebody that's really popular, then fuck, Tom Hardy? I don't know. I'd prefer to have somebody unknown that can do a good job and not... does it feel like you guys that there might be a play to get people in the cinema?
I just don't know why they're doing a Venom film.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But it's not going to be necessarily tied to the Spider-Man
Well, exactly,
movie either,
like-
or in any way tied to the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Which my first thought when they announced Venom is that perhaps when
Infinity War.
Infinity War happens. Maybe that's a good opportunity for them to get the symbiote back to Earth.
The best thing about Venom's Carnage.
Yep.
So it's the sooner they can make that happen. Do you know what? I'd be happy if they spent 25 minutes at the start of this movie with Peter Parker with the black suit, and then he goes, fuck this. And then it's Eddie Brock, and then Carnage comes by the end of the movie.
Fair enough.
I just don't think they should bother, because it's not the most interesting Marvel bad guy, and it's definitely not the most interesting Spider-Man bad guy. They should just not bother with that, and they should do Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
They should pick a character they've not done before in the films who's actually interesting and not part of the 90s weirdness, and just do that instead.
Fair enough. But, you know, it's bloody Sony, isn't it? So they'll just probably
do whatever they want, and then put it into a film, and then 2 films later go, oh, we're just going to redo it again.
They'll do what they want.
That wasn't a very good Tom Hardy Legend impression then.
That was my impression of Sony as a whole.
That's what Sony sound like, ladies and
To
gentlemen.
me, that is what they sound like.
Anyway, right, Spider-Man. So there was a proper look at the Shocker costume from the Hasbro toy range. I don't know if you saw that, Adam.
Yes.
And a quick first look at the Tinkerer, which isn't Donald Glover, which took me by surprise. I thought it was going to be Donald Glover.
I think Donald Glover's just going to be like his teacher, or
You reckon?
yeah.
I suppose he's a bit older than him,
I
isn't he?
don't think he's going to be one of the villains, and I can't imagine they'll do him as Miles Morales.
No.
What about if he's Mary Jane Watson?
Could be.
I'd enjoy it.
Bit different with the casting.
A little bit. Equal opportunities casting, you know.
I don't think he'd be happy to dye his hair ginger though, or would they just
Put a wig on him. You're right.
black-haired Mary Jane instead?
Donald Glover in a dress. Anyway, right, the Homecoming score includes the original Spider-Man theme. Did you see that little
Which
video?
original Spider-Man?
So what's his name? Giacchino's Symphony Orchestra are doing the score for it, and there's a little video on YouTube which I'll link below. Actually,
I guarantee it won't be the worst part of the movie.
Well,
No.
mate, they have the old Star Trek music at the end of the Star Trek movies now, don't they?
Oh, do they?
The woo woo.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
And again, they're not the worst part of those movies.
Hey, they're good films, all 3 of them.
They're
Well,
right.
all 1
2
and
of
3 of
them.
them.
I've not
yeah,
finished.
yeah. 1 and 3.
I've not finished Star Trek Beyond yet.
It's all right.
Is it?
Hey,
worth-
Benedict Cumberbatch's Khan.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Star Trek got a trailer this week. Did you notice the new Star Trek?
This TV series.
Yes.
Yes.
What's it called? Discovery.
Yes.
Got a
In Trouble.
What?
It's called Star Trek In Trouble, isn't it?
is it?
It's had a very troubled production, hasn't it?
Oh, is it?
Recasts and rewrites and not really knowing what they're doing.
But from the trailer, it looks like it's halfway between the original series of Star Trek and Enterprise series and the new films. It's kind of got an element in the trailer just of kind of all those 3 styles. So
It looks fucking beautiful.
yeah, it looks really nice. It
It's
looks
got
like
like
it could be really good.
Looks like it's got a really nice high budget. It's got a good cast.
I just don't like the look of the Klingons.
Really? They're
Yeah.
very different, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the weird versions from the new films.
It's
I don't
the
get
super
it.
mutated
We're going to have
version.
to steal it anyway, aren't we? Because it's going out on their subscription service that isn't available in the United Kingdom.
Oh, really? Yeah. Is it not on Netflix then?
No. It's on...
No, well, it
what's
might be on
Is
it might be in the UK. It might be that thing where they do it with like Breaking Bad went out day and date, didn't it? That
Right.
it did on AMC and then to Netflix in the UK.
Yeah, I seem to remember seeing something to suggest it was out on Netflix in the autumn. But still. Go and have a
Oh, well
look at-
then we won't have to steal it. Just steal somebody's Netflix login.
I'll be stealing it.
But then there's that other thing, I can't remember, like Orville,
Orville.
which...
The Orville.
Yeah.
The
So,
Seth MacFarlane thing.
yeah.
These were bound to come up together, weren't they?
Yeah.
I
Like,
was going to try and separate them, but... yeah.
No, you can't.
No getting
'cause
away
it's,
from it.
It's a TV series about a spaceship and a crew that's obviously a mick take of the Star Trek stuff. It's kind of got that... Have you seen Galaxy Quest?
Let's make
Yeah.
this really,
Yeah.
really clear for the listeners. Right, so we're no longer talking about Star Trek.
No,
There's a
we're
comedy show coming in 2017.
Was it a show? I
Yes.
thought it was a
No, it's a
one-off
show.
naff
Yeah,
movie.
it's a series.
Right.
And
yeah.
it's a Seth MacFarlane comedy show in
Seth-
space
Seth MacFarlane being the man who created Family Guy.
that looks a lot like...
Peter Griffin.
looks
Yes.
a lot like Star Trek and behaves a lot like Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
But it has, from the trailer, this is the thing, it could be really good. And it could be what I kind of hoped they would do with Galaxy Quest, which is end up having a spin-off series based on ships in the same universe.
Yep.
But it's got Seth MacFarlane writing it, and he's in it.
I was led to believe that Galaxy Quest they were working on like a follow-up and to do it in a similar vein of you take Galaxy Quest, but then you add 20 years to it, and they're older, and it's like when it would be like getting Kirk at the end of the Undiscovered Country to be the to pick up, where they're all old and they're like, I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah.
There was was talk of them trying to do it, but massive scheduling problems.
No, Alan Rickman died basically.
Yeah.
That's what
Of
killed
course.
it. But the thing is with this, I'm looking at the trailer and I'm like, the worst thing the worst thing in it is Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. His face.
Mate, don't put your face on screen.
Yeah.
Even he should just done a voice for a creature or a robot.
He looks like one of those
Because he can't
those
act for-
fake action figure like faces you get, like when you get a cheap version of an
Poundland
action
Action
figure.
Man.
Yeah. Poundland Action Man. He looks like one of those. And then all the way through the trailer, it's his like awful jokes. And it's like one or two of them I can handle, but there's too many of them in the trailer. It's like, okay, if you're just showing them all to get the people that like Seth MacFarlane on board, fair enough. But if the actual thing is that many jokes of his in that style constantly throughout, I'm out, because that'll just get on my tits within 10 minutes.
That's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem that I've had with the movies is that
Ted and Ted 2.
Ted and Ted 2 were pretty fucking awful. I've not finished either of them. I've started both and not finished either. And the Live and Die in the West or something.
Yeah,
$1,000
million ways to die in the West or something.
That's the one.
That was
so
awful.
I've not bothered watching it. Just because I've fallen out of love with the guy so much. I watched the first 6 seasons of Family Guy. I was just like, Seth MacFarlane was a comedy genius as far as I was concerned at that point. And then it just dropped off, and everything I saw was so disappointing.
The first Star
However,
Wars,
go on.
the first Star Wars Family Guy special was
It's
incredible.
Very good. It's very good, and the third one's very good as well. But the second one's awful. But my thought on this is that, is he actually writing these movies, or is somebody else writing and handing the premise over to him and saying, right, insert jokes into this?
It could be.
And if that is the case, well, this Orville, it looks like a lot of the jokes aren't space jokes. It wouldn't matter where they are, like the thing with the marbles.
Yeah.
He says, I want one of these mints, and sticks it in his mouth, and the guy says, those are marbles. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not a space joke.
Yeah. Which is fine. If you're going to have humour in it, it doesn't have to be space-related, but it would be good if it was.
But it does
Some
make
of
it Family Guy or Seth MacFarlane in space, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than, I don't know, I think personally I'd be more into it a little bit if... No, fuck it, I'm into it. I'm on board for it. I'm going to watch it.
For me, my personal problem with him...
I haven't seen a U-turn like that since...
It's quite impressive.
That was unreal.
Fuck it, I'm not watching it. I'm watching it.
I am going to give it a solid go, just because I want it to succeed.
Mm.
I want him to have another successful fucking round of something funny.
But the problem I have with him on screen is his mouth is telling a joke, but his face says, I'm telling a joke. Look at me, this is a joke I wrote, and there it is, that's a joke done. Yeah. And he just has that every time.
Smarmy
he's
bastard
smarmy,
face.
and he's so proud at each time, and you can't hide it.
Just like Jimmy Carr.
Yeah, that's it.
Jimmy Carr does
Except
it,
for
does
Jimmy.
Yeah, smarmy
Carr's fucking
bastard
hilarious.
face. Yeah, he is, but it's smarmy. But he's got smarmy
But for
bastard
Jimmy Carr,
face.
it works. That's his whole
because he's actually
thing.
funny,
and he's not playing a character. He's just him.
Yeah.
But whereas
Seth
MacFarlane's
MacFarlane's
trying to play characters, and every time he does it,
he
it's
does
I'm
smarmy
telling a
bastard
joke.
face.
I wrote this one as well. Look, there it is. There's a joke. It's funny. Laugh now.
Well, for somebody or something that you don't have a lot of support for, we're spending a lot of time on this. So should we
Because
move on?
I really
That's
want
true,
it to
yeah.
be good, but I just don't think it will be.
Fair enough. Should we move on?
Yes.
Did you see Snowpiercer, the movie, by any chance?
Yes.
Did you like it?
I thought it was all right.
Paul, have you seen it?
Not a clue. What's
Snowpiercer.
I think you'd like it.
It's
a
an
weird
interesting
one.
movie. It's very strange. It's about it's set in the future,
Yeah.
and the population of the Earth are on a train.
So it's not when you take a piss in a blizzard.
No.
It's a rip-off of an old 2000 AD comic story.
Is
Cool.
it?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the world's population are on a train.
Oh, man, there's a big train in it.
Yeah.
It's quite a large train.
Yeah.
And all the poor people are at the back.
Right.
And all the rich people, and it goes up in class as you get closer to the front of the train and closer
Right.
to the engine, and living conditions get better.
Mm.
And a group of people from the back decide they're going to rebel and try and get through to the front. And it's all very political and all very claustrophobic, and it's all very kind of Japanese as well.
Actually sounds really good.
It's very strange. There's like a carriage with, it doesn't ruin anything, there's a carriage with like a classroom in it where some kids are being taught. And when you get to that point of the film, it's like, okay, there's some really weird shit going on this like train. Like, this is not just normal society. This is mega fucked up.
It is quite crazy, but it's written by somebody. I'm sure it's Japanese. I'm sure the writer's Japanese. The director's definitely Japanese. Maybe they're Korean.
I think it's from what
Either
I
way.
remember.
There's a little bit of more casual racism.
That's not
you know,
casual racism. Like either way, it feels like
Cultural ignorance.
it feels
That's what it
like an Asian movie, as in it concentrates in the script and things on things that Western movies wouldn't concentrate on. There's
yeah.
a lot of emotional drama in the wordplay
Yeah.
and things, which you don't get in a lot of Western movies.
No.
But so it concentrates on things that people have to say for ages and ages, just like I'm fucking doing now. And
Yeah, it is Korean.
at the same
I thought
time,
it was.
at the same time, it's got it's English. It's a English spoken movie
Cool. No, I'll give it a go.
with what's his face that plays Captain America, Chris Evans.
It's by the guy that did The Host and Sea Fog and other good sort of Korean horror films or sort of monster films.
Yeah.
Very, very good director.
I was so relieved when I realised that there's two Chris Evanses. When I first heard the name,
Chris
oh
Evans.
fuck no!
He's playing Captain
What's
America.
he doing now?
Brilliant. I love it. Anyway, the reason for bringing up Snowpiercer is that there is a TV pilot being shot by the director of Doctor Strange, Scott Derrickson, and David Diggs, the guy who voices some of the characters in Zootopia. He's from Blackish as well.
Don't know.
Afro dude.
Don't know half of the things you just said.
No.
Have you not seen
lost.
Zootopia?
No.
Oh, fuck me. Go and watch Zootopia. Have you not seen Blackish?
No.
It's all right. It's very funny, but I think maybe it's probably funnier for people that are maybe American and
You mean African Americans?
African Americans. Yes, thank you.
Are you African American if your family's heritage don't come from Africa? I've always wondered that, because what about the guys that's families came from places like Jamaica?
They came from Africa, mate.
Even Jamaicans.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly the same thing. They took.
I thought Jamaicans was a
So-
different.
Just a little quick history lesson for you in a really weird voice. No, probably still in a normal voice. Right.
You do the
White,
Tom Hardy
white
voice.
people, or as we call them now, Europeans, yeah, they used to get in boats, yeah, and they went, right, well, if we're going to go and live in America or the West Indies, how the fuck are we going to get anything built? Right, I know what we'll do. We'll get on our boats and we'll sail down to Africa first, and we'll just grab a load of people and go, you're coming with us, mate.
Yeah.
And we're not going to pay you or anything, but you're just going to work for us. And so they just dumped them in Jamaica and made them farm sugar cane. And
I didn't
then
realise
did
that
the
about
same thing
Jamaica.
and- yeah, it's the
I
same.
thought there
It's-
was certain areas and islands that were people that had been brought over as slaves from Africa. I didn't realise that Jamaica was. I thought that
yeah,
was
basically,
a different
the-
like grouping of people.
So
from
Jamaica would
a
have been
different area.
what, Polynesian originally?
no, it probably would have been more like Central American.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, it would have been like Central or Northern America, wouldn't it? There would have been some sort of native South or Northern American.
Did Native Americans do a bit of searching across the seas then?
I don't know my American history
They
very
didn't
well.
colonise
so-
anywhere else, though, did they? Native Americans?
I don't know, because the thing is, you forget that Cuba's not that far off the coast of Florida, is it? It's like
No.
90 miles.
True.
Can I just say, Chris?
Yeah.
Segue into a new segment from that, you fucker.
Yeah, talking about the slave trade. Beat that.
Mamma Mia has got a sequel on the way.
That'll do for me.
That's not news that should be in our podcast, mate.
Anyway,
Wow.
back to what we were talking about. Just you were saying
So you
about
do a segue,
series.
and he drags us
No,
back.
I know, what's going on there?
because there is the director Bong Joon-ho, who did Snowpiercer. He's also got a Netflix film coming out called Okja, and it's all about a creature that is kind of like, it looks like it's a cross between a dog, a hippo, and a pig. And there's Tilda Swinton.
Is it called a dog hippo?
No, I don't know what it's called.
I like how you were going for Swilda Tinton.
Yeah, I got lost on my word there. Yeah, Tilda Swinton's like someone who wants to grow this creature in mass to use as food. Yeah, the whole film looks like it's about as...
She wants to eat them.
Yeah, and sell them on mass market. And it looks like the whole film's about this little girl who's friends with this creature trying to sort of get to it and get it back. And there's a lot of famous people from lots of different countries playing parts in it, and a lot of them are talking in their native language. So it looks like it's going to be the first proper, fully language-covering film.
So it's a pig, hippo, and a dog.
It sort of looks
type
like...
of thing.
Yeah.
I guarantee it tastes a chicken, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always do.
So we'll link the trailer for Okia below. I'll go and have a little look at that. Speaking of weird dog things, there was a little first look, or a possible first look. It could be
Mamma
fake.
Mia?
No. It could be fake, but there's a little first look at Lockjaw. Did you see that at all? It's like a 2-second video of something that could be real, but it's very grainy looking.
Well, there is footage... well, no, not footage. Photographs of the guy that plays Black Bolt on set with a model next to him of a dog.
Right. Okay, so this is a rendered...
Massive.
This is a rendered shot in the middle of a street with traffic, and they kind of like teleport into the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just there for a second, and that's it. End of video. So that's online. I'll link it below. In honesty, if that is Lockjaw, he doesn't look great, but still, it's a very large animated pug.
Yeah, with a
I don't know if it's
thing
going to look
sticking
good.
out his forehead. No.
So yes,
See what happens.
talking about animated stuff, Studio Ghibli. We all like Studio Ghibli, don't we?
Some of it.
There's quite a lot of it, isn't there?
Yes.
I couldn't possibly profess to have seen them all.
I've seen a very, very large chunk of them. Have you seen any Studio Ghibli, Paul?
Throw me an example.
Spirited Away,
No.
Howl's Moving Castle,
No.
Ponyo,
No.
My Neighbor Totoro.
No.
Totoro.
Safe to say I haven't seen any of it then.
Nino Cooney on PlayStation 3. They did the art for that. You
Uh,
know their art.
Yeah.
They're like the...
Nausicaa, Valerie of the Wind.
No.
Now-
If
now
it wasn't done by...
You're doing a list within a list now, Chris.
If it wasn't done in 86 by Sumbo, you've no chance.
Oh, what about Kiki's Delivery Service? That's a nice one.
Kinky what? Kinky Afro.
Kiki's Delivery Service. There's about a witch that delivers stuff for a bakery. Anyway, they
They're
do
good films.
They do
I
really...
will check them out.
Oh, and Princess Mononoke. Jesus. Yeah, so they do really good, wholesome animation, and it's always got heart and spirit and some nice message and stuff.
Quite often makes grown men cry.
Yeah, they are very emotional. And there's one guy specifically, Hayao Miyazaki, who's like well known for being the producer of the big ones, the ones that make them a lot of money, and they're the ones with the passion and the heart, and they are internationally well received.
Yeah.
He's like a god to everybody at Pixar, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
And actually, some of the guys at Pixar, they get his films and they produce the foreign language redubs.
Right.
So the English versions of them. So they get famous Hollywood actors to record the dialogue for the English version.
Interestingly, Neil Gaiman did the script for Princess Mononoke. Neil Gaiman, the writer of American Gods. Anyway, that's another story. So Hayao Miyazaki is coming out of retirement apparently to do one last movie. He's 76 years old and he's in and out of bad health, and he's actually saying, look, you've got to face the fact that it might not actually happen, and he has to deny it for now, but it seems like the studio are trying to make it happen.
Let's hope it don't kill him then.
Yeah, well, this is true. But, either way, right, if he starts it and dies, it will still be a testimony to him, won't it?
Yeah.
It'll be
definitely.
It'll be a nice little an epitaph for him.
Well, it's the same as Douglas Adams starting the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy film and then dying before.
Did he?
He was involved in the writing of it and the choice of certain actors and choices of changing the storyline. Same as all versions of Hitchhikers.
It's a shame he didn't get to edit the final thing, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's fucking bollocks. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy has been knocked off the top spot by Alien Covenant.
Really?
Yep. Despite the shit reviews, it's still a popular movie.
To be honest, I've not heard anything bad from people online on Facebook that I know that have seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm hearing mixed reviews.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've only seen positive so far.
I'm hearing it's incredible or it's incredibly shit.
I've heard a massive surge of negative, actually. And from quite large movie critics as well. like Mark Kermode you said about Ross last week, didn't you?
Yeah, he was.
Find him hit and miss though.
He's quite a good benchmark, as in that he knows when a big summer blockbuster's already going to be garbage, and you probably know like it's going to be garbage. Like he famously tears the Transformers one a new hole.
That review was incredible, wasn't it? Wasn't it him
They've
for
all
about
been
10
amazing.
minutes banging his head against the wall?
They've all been
Brilliant.
amazing.
I
Every
like
one of them.
Movie Bob's reviews because he breaks it down in a way that is how I view movies, which is based not just on whether it looked nice, but based upon the actual storyline. The storyline that's not spelt out in words, literally by a narration character, and then also like how it's been made. So I quite like his reviews. I don't always agree with him, but then I don't always agree with all critics.
And your continuity autism. You probably love Stanley Kubrick movies then.
Yeah.
Meticulous attention to detail. There's a real famous continuity photo of, in Doctor Strangelove where there's a pie fight.
Yeah.
So Kubrick laid all the tables out with the pies and everything, and then photographed them all, and then wrote 100% strictest continuity on them, so that they had to lay them out exactly the same every take.
Amazing.
So my point was, for the next 2 weeks, there's not a great deal other than Pirates of the Caribbean, which is being released by Pirates, and I've found a copy of it on Kick-Ass Torrents, by the way.
Brilliant.
So for the next 2 weeks until Wonder Woman comes out on the 2nd of June, Alien Covenant and Guardians of the Galaxy have got pretty much a free run at the cinema. So it'd be interesting to see which one of them comes out on top next week.
Yeah, but when you say got a free run, does that not then depend on if there's a massive market for one of the other films that's just not sci-fi or comic book?
Cinema doesn't work like that now, Adam, does it?
The other films that we've got coming out in between, May 25th, there's only one. That's Baywatch.
Yay!
May 26th, there's Pirates of the Caribbean,
Boo!
Berlin Syndrome,
Boo!
and Drone. Now,
Boo.
Berlin Syndrome and Drone are both limited release.
Drone, is that about our podcast?
Oh, dear. I want to cut that out because it sounds negative, but...
It's not.
All I've got is a mental picture of you in my head of you being Bat Dad's arch nemesis and being all maniacal in your little office going, and I'm cutting this bit out, cut it out, there you go, and I'm cutting you out, and I didn't like what you said there, and that's going, and I'll leave this joke in because it's fabulous, and I'll cut you out, and I'll cut you out.
Anyway, yeah, it's funny because it's true. Fuck off. Right, June the 2nd, Captain Underpants comes out, and Wonder Woman.
Yay!
So, yeah, Wonder Woman, of course, the embargo's been lifted as well. People have gone mental. It's just like, fucking, it's brilliant. And there's loads
Let's
of...
hope they're right.
Is anyone really interested in going to see Aliens? Because I'm morbidly fascinated.
Ridley Scott has pissed me off too much. I can't be bothered anymore.
I'd like to see it, but I'm probably not going to pay, to be honest.
I'm worried about Blade Runner now.
Why?
He's not directing it, mate.
Is he not?
No, it's Danny Villeneuve.
Oh, that's right then. It'll probably be okay.
Hey, The Martian's really good.
The Martian.
Yeah, The Martian
You're
might
not
be
talking
the
into
best
your
film
microphone, Adam.
Sorry, yeah, The Martian. Yeah, I like The Martian.
The Martian might be the best film he's made since Gladiator.
He's going to be a busy boy.
He's got 15 films coming out next year,
films
isn't
a
he?
year until he dies.
He's starting Alien Awakening at the end of this year,
Yeah.
which is still rumoured to be a possible prequel to Covenant.
The prequel to the sequel of the prequel of the prequel sequel. Can you handle this?
And he's been hired by
There's the
TNT.
tagline.
He's been hired by TNT to develop multiple sci-fi TV series for them.
For a wrestling company?
TNT,
Why
What?
are they doing sci-fi? What's happening?
the channel TNT.
Oh, I thought you meant like a wrestling company.
No.
Like some...
Is there a TNT wrestling
I
company?
don't know. I just assumed there was like a cheap version of WWF or something.
Oh, what?
think
Because
there
it's
is
got 3 letters.
Yeah. It just sounds like something
It
you'd
does sound
call
like
wrestling,
doesn't it? Yeah.
Tiny Nazi tigers.
What happens when they show World Wildlife Fund commercials on the telly, Adam? Do you get confused about pandas?
No, because that was
why
a
they're making them
very...
wrestle?
They changed it, didn't they, to something else because of legal battles after 30 years of them having the same initials.
Yeah, wrestling's WWE, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
it's
used to
not
be F, though, didn't
yeah,
Yeah.
they changed
Because
it after...
they merged WWF and WCW, didn't they?
Dunno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Fucking
idea.
hell, dunno. Anyway, so yes, Ridley Scott, bless him, is going to be super, super busy. He's turning 80 this year. Did you see the Alien Covenant Rick and Morty TV advert?
Yeah, better than all of the trailers.
That's quite funny. I'll leave a link to it below. I noticed as well, I watched Mindhorn last night. Have you guys come across it?
The guy that was part of Mighty Boosh's
He was,
thing?
yeah. That's what's his face?
It's very much in the
Julian Barrett.
Yeah.
It's very much in the theme of it's basically dark. It's Garth Marenghi's Dark Place meets Bergerac, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh right, I'm gonna give that a go.
It's
then,
very,
definitely.
very-
Right, just so Paul was like, Paul. Right, for anyone, right,
Yeah.
for any, well,
Bam,
for
I'm back in the room.
everybody who isn't in this room now because you're listening to this podcast, Paul keeps doing an impression of C-3PO where he's just like, he looks over and he goes, "Nobody will notice if I just power down," and the lights behind his eyes go off. And then anytime you mention the period between December 31st, 1979 and December 31st, 1989, it's like, "Hello, what? Yes, hello, I'm involved in this. Yes, I can contribute."
It does look really good.
It's funny because it's true. Yeah, so Mindhorn, I enjoyed it. It feels like it's got something missing.
But then don't most British film comedies, because they
maybe.
never quite... Shaun of the Dead's the only one recently.
Did you see Four Lions by any chance?
Yeah, that was good.
That's
Yeah.
it. I'd still put it in the same kind of... It feels a bit incomplete, but it's quite funny in places.
We talking of? Is this a film? They're not a series.
It's a film.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame because I think a lot of comedies in that sort of the British ones in that they work much better as a series.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not a series. There's only so
Really?
much I could take of that, actually.
Yeah,
I was glad it was over in an hour.
They'd probably do it slightly differently if it was a series, though. They'd probably, like Garth Marenghi. Garth Marenghi works at the length it is and at the length of episodes.
Yeah.
But
It wouldn't work as a
I
film.
quite like. Did any of you catch Toast of London?
Yeah.
Is it that Toast of London?
Toast of London.
Yeah,
No.
and after the first season, it took me a while to get into that. And once I got into the rhythm of that one,
Yeah, Matt Berry.
yeah, Matt Berry's series, it's on. I think it's on all four.
Okay.
Well worth checking out.
Yeah.
Father.
Oh, it's full of that.
That
It's
guy.
full of
Ah.
just
Yeah, yeah.
ridiculous.
That's
But
just
it's not just a silly voice anymore. He's got some. It's really well written. It's got some really good quirks, hasn't it?
Because there is that weird thing with British TV like comedy or sitcom actors or writers that then go to do films. You either end up with something that's really good but feels like there's something missing, or they go on a holiday. It's like Kevin and Perry went on holiday.
They have to make a movie. So
Mr. Bean went on holiday. Mr. Bean 2
British
went on
comedy.
holiday.
It needs that time. It needs to be able to mature.
in
Yeah.
between us. They went on holiday twice.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Bean went on holiday twice.
I think
It just
The bottom film
That's
was
the
Guest House
problem.
Party. It was a hotel, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
That
like
was filmed on the Isle of
sometimes,
Wight.
and that's the thing.
yeah.
It was filmed
Some of
over here.
those things work really well when they're put into films, or they do their own version, or they write their own characters for stuff. So, like Shaun of the Dead worked really well based on one little scene in a Spaced episode, but then it's still, it kind of lacks something that the old British comedy films like Monty Python and that had.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Yeah.
what it is now.
It's just an incompleteness. Anyway, Ridley Scott produced it. That's what I was fucking trying to get at.
Oh.
Before we
hang
went
on, we're
off on-
talking about British comedy.
Yeah, no. Ridley Scott produced Mindhorn.
Did he?
Yeah. Strangely, it weirded me out when I saw that in the credits at the end.
Is it the same Ridley Scott?
Yeah, I hope so.
Was he not just Wrigley Scott?
Wriggly Scott. Anyway, right. Let's fucking move on. We mentioned Rick and Morty a minute ago with the Alien Covenant advert. Did you see the thing about Gravity Falls, Futurama, The Simpsons, all being connected to Rick and Morty now? By any chance?
How?
Is this actual or is
It's
this
actual.
fan theory?
What, as
No,
in-
well, it's fan theory, but Jesus Christ, it's solid.
Fan theories.
Yeah, but how is it solid? Like, has it been yesed by all the people involved in the other shows?
It doesn't need to be. That they are literally the most solid connections I've ever
Go on,
seen in
then.
anything. So I will link a video below
Okay.
from a guy who does The Film Theorist. That's the one.
Right.
And his shows are entertaining. They're good. They're not too long. And he did a really, really good one on salad fingers, actually.
Oh,
do you
I'll have
remember
to check
Salad
that out.
Fingers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we should have mentioned that last week. But still, very, very solid connections.
Okay.
Go and have a look. You'll be interested. While we're on crossovers, does anyone watch Supernatural?
No.
No.
Does anyone out there
I don't think anyone
the
watches it.
world
Do they?
watch Supernatural? Or is
Even the toys are shite.
there are toys?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think they're linked.
What?
Are you talking about the Tonka ones from 1980? No.
Supernatural.
No, it's all right, mate. You can power down. Post January the 1st, 1990, mate.
Are we talking Supernaturals, the things that they were a normal guy and then you pushed a thing on the back of their head and they turned into a monster because it just pushed bits of extra plastic through their face?
No, that's the Infaceables.
Infaceables.
Supernaturals had holograms and you pulled their chest and face off and they just had holographic bodies.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Okay.
it might have been Paul that sent me the link, but have you seen the worst toy ever made? It was a Doctor Who toy.
No, what is it?
Right, you know, in one of the episodes,
Yep.
there's a stretched skin.
The last human, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
Cassandra.
remember it, yeah.
There's a toy of it.
No.
No.
There's a toy of that. Fair enough, that's pretty bad. But then they had, was it her? Is it called
The toy of it where
the
it's
dead one?
the dead version of her.
Of
So
her.
it's just the
It's
metal
just a frame.
with a bit of
That's
bent
it.
plastic and burntness with no skin in the
They
middle.
must have
What?
when they made
Yeah.
that. Somebody must
For
have just gone,
collectors
let's
only.
see if we can fucking get away
Totally,
with
yeah.
this.
I quite admire it for that.
It's the most bullshit toy I've ever seen.
It's just a metal. Well, it's a plastic frame.
Hey, Timmy, I bought you a toy. Here you go.
Yeah.
The one where it's damaged doesn't even have little wheels on the bottom,
No.
so you can push it along like the other one. It's just stationary. It's like, wow.
Oh, God.
So you've bought me a piece of set,
Thanks.
useless set that's in an episode for half a minute.
Yep.
Thanks.
Supernaturals. Or Supernatural, sorry.
Yeah.
They're doing a bloody Scooby-Doo crossover episode.
What?
What?
I know.
What with
for the 4 people that watch Supernatural, which is none of us, by the way, they are doing a animated Scooby-Doo crossover episode.
weird?
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is weird.
I'd like to see it.
It's weird enough that they're doing the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse comics at DC, and then they're crossing over all the Hanna-Barbera with DC, and
You
now
mentioned
they're
something
doing
about this
Looney
before.
Tunes and stuff as well. So
Well,
like Elmer Fudd and Batman.
Well, it's not weird because
But-
it's comic books, mate. They're fucking
No, that's
mental.
weird. Like to take an established character like Batman and cross it over with Elmer Fudd is a weird choice.
That's
a
quite
very
crazy.
weird
So
choice.
what's that DC crossover comics?
Yeah, like they're doing DC crossover with Hanna-Barbera because DC do the
It's
Scooby-Doo
that's
comics.
Looney Tunes.
and then
isn't it?
and Looney Tunes that DC now are doing the comics of.
Right.
So they're going to be doing crossovers. It's just
Bizarre. So,
Yeah.
which who's publishing them?
DC.
DC.
Yeah. Because they DC literally do the Hanna-Barbera comics.
And
so
they're
I-
weekly
they'll be doing
release jobbies, are they? Or
I'm not sure. It's normally monthly, I think, with DC. I can never remember
Okay.
because I don't particularly like DC.
Adventure Time and Regular Show have got a crossover announced as well.
That'd work.
Yeah, I can see that. While we're talking about DC, Black Lightning. Do you know the character?
Looks good.
Yeah, there's a TV show coming.
Yeah, it looks good.
The only thing that bothers me is, fuck me, there are so many TV shows coming. And,
I'm fine
You don't
with
have to
that.
watch them all, mate.
well,
Or if you're Paul, you don't watch any of them.
I don't think I'm going to be able to watch them all. I'm already having trouble keeping up with all the superhero stuff. And like, I've managed to get Legion in just because it really grabbed me and held me. Whereas,
But then if
Close.
the
That's
thing
so
is,
Tony
the
Dunn.
thing is, if I watch a couple of episodes of something new, and it's more what I want than the stuff I'm already watching, I'll drop something.
okay.
If it's not good enough,
But I
then
keep
I'll
dropping
drop something.
DC stuff. That's the trouble.
Yeah, because it's
I've
not as
dropped
good.
Gotham. I've dropped Arrow.
Yeah,
I've dropped bloody Legends of Tomorrow.
yeah.
Flash.
I
didn't
can't.
wanna
I
drop the Flash,
really
but-
like Flash, and
Yeah.
I really like Supergirl, so I won't
It's
be
lost me
dropping
for the
those.
minute. I really want to get back into it. But yeah,
I do this thing with TV shows. If they're shit, I stop watching them.
Yeah, same here.
It's the best thing ever. Don't get Stockholm syndrome for television. Just stop it. The only caveat from that is like I'm 8 seasons into Walking Dead, but I know I stopped watching it for about at least twice, and then picked it back up because people would be like, "Oh, it's really good now." Is it, or is it just not being boring at the moment?
we spoke about the Flash movie last week. It's had another interesting week actually.
Did they cancel it?
No, but they did.
Never mind.
They did give the option of directing to Matthew Vaughn. He's the guy that directs
Kick-Ass and Kingsman.
Kingsman. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if he's not too busy doing another movie, it could be his next one. Him and Robert Zemeckis are the front runners at the moment, so I'd be up for both of those. And Kevin Smith has thrown his name in. He won't get it.
No.
Somebody needs to let Kevin Smith direct a comic book movie, big time.
I think he'd be really good at it because he's directed a few episodes of Flash and Supergirl, and they've actually been my more favourite episodes.
your favoritist.
So I think he should be given the opportunity to do a comic book.
I
movie.
imagine Kevin Smith's Suicide Squad. How much better it'd been.
Yeah,
Wow, yeah.
far superior. It wouldn't be difficult though, would it?
That's the thing with bloody Wonder Woman. All the critics saying, "Oh, it's the best DC movie yet." Well, fucking surprise, surprise. What?
That's not really a standard that you've got to fight against for it to be.
No,
the
you've only
best
got to
so
set
far.
the bar, moderately high, haven't you?
You've
Yeah.
only got to do as well as the Incredible Hulk, and then
Yeah.
you're already doing better than all of the modern DC films.
Absolutely. ABC have officially ordered the Roseanne revival series. It's fucking happening. That's a bit weird, isn't it?
We've spoke about this, didn't we? It's just a
Don't
TV
care.
show that was so
Weird.
meaningless to people in Britain that it's just like
Yeah,
It's
it's like
not-
looking in a hull of a planet, wasn't it?
it's like
A planet within a planet. Because Roseanne had her own fucking gravity, didn't she?
Is that her?
Her kids just hovered around. Her and John Goodman, yeah.
It's like a shit Family Guy.
Yeah, yeah. that's
Shit
exactly-
live action
really
Family
shit
Guy.
Family Guy's not that good.
Oh yeah, the like first 6 seasons are great.
It is great, but I don't know. There were still loads and loads of moments of American culture that were completely lost on. Well, I hope on everybody else. Certainly lost on me. Like,
Mate, I was talking about Family Guy.
yeah, so was I.
Right. No, I just like it when I watch an episode and like Stewie and what was the dog called? Forgotten.
Dave,
No.
Brian.
Brian,
Brian.
Stewie and Brian just go back in time in a DeLorean and they fight Nazis, and then the Hawkman from Flash Gordon in it. I'm just like, these are all things that I remember, and it's funny. It's a bit like our podcast, really, or Paul's brain.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, I'm not going to rip it for that.
I really like the Back to the Future little snippet at the end of one of the episodes, or a little cutaway that they do in one of the episodes. Do you remember it with Doc Brown and Marty?
Every
It's
episode's got a cutaway.
Oh,
I know,
yeah.
no, it's the Back
Yeah.
to the Future one specifically.
There is.
Okay.
And so it's Doc Brown, Marty, and Marty's girlfriend in the DeLorean at the end of Back to the Future,
Yeah.
first movie. I'll find a link to it below. It's very funny.
I'm quite fond of the AIDS song. I thought that was quite nifty.
that's pretty good.
You've got the
But there you go. Right, Seth MacFarlane was funny, and he deserves another chance.
I don't think I'm more
Just off screen.
South Park than I am Family Guy.
Have you seen the really good, hilarious sketch? I would just talk about this one real quick. Is the Hiroshima one? So
No.
the sketch is called Worst Day Ever in Family Guy, and it's like starts off with August 6th, I think it is, 1945, Hiroshima, and you just think, oh, this is going to be the worst day ever. And this guy gets splashed by a car that drives fast, and he's like, oh, this is the worst day ever. And then something else happens to him, and he looks up and he goes, oh my God. And you just think the bomb's going to land on him. It's monkey lands on him, mauls him to death. Fucking, it's amazing.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah, it does sound pretty funny. Star Wars, Ross. You like Star Wars?
Yeah, I'm slowly tiring of it. No, I'm not. but I am. There's such a thing as too much Star Wars.
Mace-
Is there?
Mace
me-
Windu is getting his own comic series, which
Yep. I haven't
probably
read
appeals
any.
to Adam more than it does Ross, to
I
be
haven't
honest.
read any. I haven't read many of the new comics for ages. They're
No?
really good. There's a really cool trio of characters. I think her name's Dr. Afra or something. Can you confirm that, Adam?
Yes, it is Dr.
And
Afra.
and she's got like she's not really a baddie.
Right.
She's
in this-
like a mercenary bounty hunter type-esque anti-hero
She
character.
sits in there like if she was a character in a board game, which she probably is at this point, she wouldn't be in the heroes or the villains. She'd be in the scum pack.
Does she wear a costume of some sort?
No, she just sort of looks like
flight goggles and
Yeah.
stuff.
So she doesn't wear like a stormtrooper
She's
outfit?
basically
No.
a female Han
Who's that?
Solo.
There's like an orange bounty hunter stormtrooper type person. Who's that in one of the animated
Oh,
TV
you're
series?
talking about Sabine Wren
yeah.
in Star Wars Rebels. She's
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Oh, right, okay.
That's why she wears Mandalorian armor.
It's Mandalorian
No,
armor.
Dr.
Okay.
Afra is like someone that has to work for Darth Vader because she has no choice.
But
Ah.
the best thing about her character is she's reprogrammed these two, a protocol droid and an astromech, and she's got like her own evil C-3PO and R2-D2.
It's
But-
not the best
Cool.
thing about her. It's the worst thing about that
Do you not like
comic.
it? I think
No,
they're really well written.
No, it's really annoying because there's like the Vader Down comic, which is all about Vader crash landing on a planet where there's a rebel base, and it's basically him versus a battalion.
Right.
It's just beautiful idea, and it's ruined by her not only having like a black R2 unit and like a scary red like C-3PO that are evil and trying to catch R2 and C-3PO, but then when Chewbacca turns up to help, an evil Chewbacca turns up with longer hair that's darker, and he's wearing, and it's just like, so you've basically just planted the same versions of the characters on the baddie side so you can make them fight each other. This is
That's
boring.
every comic ever, Adam.
I think
No.
Knight Rider started that, didn't they?
Who are they?
No, that's every comic ever. Even when they make a comic book movie, always the first villain's just carbon copy.
Yeah, but Knight Rider, that was just
Yeah, but Star
blatantly
Wars-
brilliant, wasn't it?
Star Wars don't need to do
The
that.
comic or the TV show?
The TV show was brilliantly. The whole, what was it? What was the bad guy?
Kit.
It was-
KA.
You had Kit and you had Card, and your car was the
Car,
bad
yeah.
car.
Okay, yeah.
And it was Michael Knight's twin brother. Oh no, it was a guy who was made up to look like him, only we were going to have a mustache
Yeah.
to differentiate
Oh, God.
between
It's
the
like
two.
Mirror Universe.
Yeah,
Knight
oh
Rider.
yeah.
But yeah, the thing is with Star Wars though is that, and I suppose the same with bloody Michael Knight as well, is that it's aimed at 12-year-olds, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
you've got to give it a break.
Yeah, but like
it was
we
made
know,
for 12-year-olds.
but then we know they can do more intelligent than that, and that kids nowadays understand more than that. It doesn't just have to be a carbon copy of the good guys to be the bad guys anymore.
And it's easy to forget, I think, with Star Wars is the fact that, right, for me, the reason I have problems with modern Star Wars movies is because it was made for 12-year-olds, but I want it to be made for me now as an adult, and I forget that it's really now what they're doing is making movies again for current 12-year-olds. And
Though a lot
I'm
of current
not one of those
12,
anymore.
yeah, but a lot of
You
current
know-
12-year-olds are more intelligent than the films they're making and throwing at them.
Don't worry about it, mate. In about 4 years' time, when your kid's old enough, then you'll just probably fall in love with it again because you'll just start watching it all with the kids.
Yeah,
And,
maybe.
Phantom Menace is fantastic.
no, God, no.
No.
That was my Darth Vader impression.
Yeah, EastEnders moment at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Dun 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 dun.
Right.
Dun 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 dun.
Bloody Judge Dredd. Adam, you missed us talking about Judge Dredd last week,
Yeah,
but there is a little bit more news. So Mega City 1, the TV show, according to the producers, Carl Urban, could potentially return as Judge Dredd.
Yep.
And he hasn't said no. It's down to scheduling.
yeah.
So
But then
think-
if they do it in the right way and he's only in say they do 10 episodes in a series and it's all about a core group of judges, but he turns up in certain cases every 2 or 3 episodes and isn't in every episode, that'd fit in better for him.
How
wouldn't
many
Yeah.
times would you like to see him in a season? 3.
it? I'd like to see him in once near the beginning of the season. So it's like he's just in an office area where they're all talking before they go out to do a mission. And then in the last 2 or 3 episodes when they do one big storyline, 3-part
And it's
that
about him.
finishes the season, and it's about him and those guys getting to work with him on a big situation. Like major storyline that affects the city, because all of the major storylines that affect the city involve him. So do all the other episodes as one-off cases that don't involve him, and then lead up to a major one at the end of each series that does.
What are the rednecks? The windy up redneck.
The what?
Clockwork redneck. There's like those redneck mutants
From which?
from like they live out in the wasteland.
The Cursed Earth? Or
Or-
Cursed Earth, depending on if you're American or British.
and one of them's like clockworky sort of thing.
The guy with a dial on his forehead.
Yeah.
The Angel
right,
Gang. He
yeah,
hasn't got
okay.
a windy up neck. He's
No.
got a dial on his forehead. Which
No,
And when he
has-
gets angry.
he turns up
up
the
to
meter.
4.
Yeah,
so,
and he
Mean,
hurts people.
mean machine.
Mean
He's
Machine,
got
yeah.
one arm that's robotic.
But
yeah.
they're like rednecks,
The Angel
aren't
Gang.
they?
Yeah, the Angel Gang.
He headbutts people.
Yeah,
That guy. He's
yeah.
cool.
One of my favourite parts of the Batman Judge Dredd crossover is him
Ah.
headbutting people.
Yep.
In a time
Does he
machine.
headbutt Batman?
I don't think
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
Oh
he?
no. Or is it Sandman?
It might be Sandman or
Hang on.
Riddler. I can't remember. There's a few crossovers. They're interesting.
Anyway, yeah. So fingers crossed for that.
I'm just really looking forward to it, because I went at the 2000 AD convention. They talked about how difficult it was to get people on side with doing a film or TV, because everyone wants to just go, right, well, okay, we'll own the rights to the character, and then you let us make all the money and we'll do a film for you. And it's like, no. So now I think they've found where they've made certain amounts of money through the comics and other stuff, and the film they just did recently, the documentary. I think they're finding they've got the right team to sort of go to other companies, and they've found the right company. So it looks like in a couple of years' time we might
They must have done
get
quite
an
well
amazing
in
series.
the same kind of way that Marvel have over a sort of a comic revival, haven't they? So
Yeah,
it's the same sort of situation, though, isn't it? All the rights got sold off to somebody else. That company have then
a company
it
that
back
was
from the-
kind of
from the
part
dead.
owned by Disney, but luckily they got the rights back before
Right.
Disney fully took over the company. It's a Swedish company, I think. They told us the whole story at the
IKEA.
convention. It was amazing.
They make flatback furniture and Mega City 1.
This is the Mega City 1 range.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I'm just excited. It's the last decent, like, big British comic company other than the Beano.
Yeah.
Don't get your hopes up, mate.
you know. Well, I'm just excited that they're even doing it. Even if it's like a 5-6 out of 10, it'll still be better than the Stallone film.
I was
going to
say, apparently Stallone's back, isn't he, to play Dredd?
Yes, God. Right, fucking moving
Helmet
on.
off.
Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Do you guys like them?
Depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Okay, so Nick Frost is going to play Captain Pugwash in a movie which should start shooting next year, which could be interesting. Him and Nick Frost are going to... Sorry, him and Simon Pegg are going to start producing a movie as well soon after called The Slaughterhouse Rules. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I've heard of that.
So it's about an elite boarding school where young men and women are groomed for power, with sadistic sixth formers enforcing tough rules and stuff. And dark comedy by the sounds of it. I quite like them as a duo. I like their stuff.
It depends. It's Paul with the alien wasn't very good.
Yeah, leave me out of
Did
it.
you not like it?
No.
I enjoyed
I
it.
didn't get on with it.
Okay.
There was good moments, but as a whole, it just wasn't a very good
World's
film.
End was worse than Paul, I thought.
I preferred that.
I
Did you?
didn't mind that. It was a throwaway film. It was a bit
I-
of fun.
yeah.
It was all
I
right.
think The World's End saves itself with the line, "Fuck off, you lamp."
Yeah.
I just like the blue guts of the aliens when they're smashing them up in the toilet. I just think it's a really fun. It's kind of got that Attack the Block, Hot Fuzz crossover.
The problem with The World's End is there's not enough comedy in it. Like Simon Pegg's character's so tragically broken
Yeah.
that it's hard to see through that.
Whereas the other characters in the two before, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, none of the characters that you're rooting for are that broken that you can't kind of enjoy them. They're sort of discovering themselves. Whereas this one, he's just trying to claw his way back from desperation.
Yeah, whatever the outcome, it's not good for him, regardless. So
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Right. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And right, Cannes Movie Festival this week, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of all the bloody amazing news and things that could come out of it, this is going to depress you. There was a full trailer for the Emoji Movie to start with.
Patrick Stewart playing Pooh.
Yes.
Yay. What a great idea.
Have a look at the trailer. We'll link it below. I don't want to say much else about it.
I don't think you
It's
should link it
fucking awful.
below.
It's linked. It's definitely there. I've already bloody created the show notes for the week with the links and things, so it's there. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is definitely back for the next Terminator movie. Other than that, no other news from Cannes.
Terminator. We don't need any more Terminator movies. They're so broken by their own narrative at this point because you can't.
Yeah.
Time travel just unravels after. I mean, Back to the Future falls apart in 3 movies.
Yeah.
But like, where do they go with? Do they send? They like that episode of The Simpsons. They send a Terminator back to the start of time to just tread on the first single-celled organism to crawl out of the primordial smudge.
Right.
I think they should just do like. I go back to the movie Bob guy. He occasionally does videos where it's like how to fix a certain franchise, and it's just ideas he's got of things he's come up with. Of if you're gonna do it, this is how you could do it that it would work and make it more interesting. And he's done Terminator and Fantastic Four recently, but his Terminator thing, it's genius. It's just like take it back to being more like the first couple, but change the storyline completely. So it's just not about the time travel, and it's not about all that. It's just about the person running away from something that will not stop.
Sure.
That's what a Terminator
Like
film
It
should
Follows.
be about. Yeah.
I really like It Follows.
Yeah.
Have you seen It Follows, Paul?
Nope.
That's a horror movie to go and watch.
Oh, you'd
Cool.
like it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not
got a
traditional.
It
It's
is
a nice
kind of
take.
a new idea.
Yeah.
So the principle being there is an evil thing, a
Yeah.
darkness, something that follows the people that it wants to kill.
Right.
But you can pass the thing on to another person by having sex with them. So it works like a sexually transmitted disease.
I see.
Works like an STD, but it's a
spooky
demonic
STD.
evil
Spooky
thing.
AIDS.
So people
Yeah.
literally, when they've got it, they'll just be like, "Oh, all right, who are you? Yeah. Should we just go and fuck in the car now, real quick? Yeah, all right, okay, bye." And then the only way you can get
Tag
rid
you
of
or
it.
it.
But the thing is, the other thing that happens, it doesn't matter. Like if you, so this girl just goes and sleeps with these guys on a boat just to get rid of it. And then, it works backwards. So as it kills somebody, then it just follows the last person again. So it doesn't matter how many people
Inevitably,
you
it's going
sleep with.
to-
Inevitably, it's going to kill enough people all the way back.
So lead
so
back
that-
to you.
Spooky.
and so it's quite psychological because it starts playing with your head because you just start thinking, what would that be like? Because you'd never be able to relax.
Well, that's
You just
That's
wank
right up my
You
street.
just wank until it kills you, wouldn't you? Fuck it.
I can't run anymore.
I'm just gonna go out with a bang.
Anyway, we were talking about Terminator.
Yeah.
So it's James Cameron. So that's
James Cameron should sit down with Movie Bob and have a listen to his ideas because I think he's got the right idea of
Yeah,
what
because
to do to
James
save
Cameron's
that.
short of a few ideas, isn't he?
Yeah,
Is-
but
is
is
he
it
gonna-
gonna be good? Is it just gonna be more of the same bullshit that all the others have been?
Is he going to pull a Ridley Scott or
Prometheus
or a George Lucas?
or yeah?
Objectively, you could argue that James Cameron's never made a bad movie
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
because you could just look
Didn't
at
he
the
do
box
Avatar?
office for
Yeah,
all
it's
of
not a bad
them.
movie.
It's an awful.
It's not a bad movie. Sorry, Russ, we cut into you there.
No, it's fine. He's never made a bad
Didn't he
movie
do
in the
Titanic?
box. Yeah.
He did. That's not
Again,
a bad movie.
you can't
either.
argue that's a bad film.
It is a bad
You might
film.
not like it, but it's not
Every
a bad
single
piece
one.
of cinema.
He pioneers with
At the time, it doesn't. It's not aged well, has it?
Yeah, but it's
Some
relevant,
of the
isn't it?
films he's
Movies
made
do not
might
age
make
well.
a lot of money, and he might do one thing in that film that's groundbreaking. Doesn't necessarily still mean it's a great film.
yeah.
It might mean that the
That's not the point.
cinematography is a great film, or the directing is a great film, or the special effects is great, but the storyline isn't necessarily good.
James Cameron is actually hugely responsible for pushing forward lots of things that we take for granted in
Oh, yeah.
filmmaking these
Yeah.
days, with special effects and practical effects as well, to be
Yeah.
honest. But he's always pushed the boundaries and always used new stuff to its absolute stretching point when he's produced movies, and they're always runaway successes as well. They all make a shitload of money.
And because he's not hugely prolific, he hasn't burnt me out in the same way as Ridley Scott has.
Yeah.
Like James Cameron's next film, I know it's going to be an Avatar follow-up. I'll probably go. When I say probably, I mean I almost certainly will go and see it.
I think with Ridley Scott, the problem is that he's reaching 80 and he's just hit panic mode. It's like, fuck, I'm going to die my first death in a minute. Let's get as much material out as possible.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think with James Cameron, just the idea of more Avatar films is uninteresting to me because I didn't like the first one in the slightest.
But would you be on board for James Cameron if you turned around and said, I'm going to make another Aliens movie or I'm going to make a Terminator movie?
Well, the
Would that
Terminator
change
thing.
the way you feel about the franchises?
No.
Because it's James Cameron.
No.
No, the thing is, like James Cameron saying, "I'm going to do Terminator," doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna. If he does it the right way, it could be amazing. But I don't want to get excited because every other Terminator film's been awful. Is he going to be the one to suddenly make a good one?
Who's your favourite director, Adam?
I don't have any particular set of films by one director that I love more
There
than any
must
other.
be somebody who's come up with a style, or you've noticed somewhere along the way, and then you've picked out all of their movies and gone and either bought them or rented them on DVD or something, and then
There's little things by
do you
lots
not
of
categorically
directors.
sit down and watch, or systematically sit down and watch every movie by a certain director?
No.
Once you get fixed on them,
No.
is that just me? Or do other people do that
I
as well?
watch films for interest of all aspects of the film. If it's a good director, that's a starting point. But then if it's got a good writer attached, and then it's got a good cast, and then it's got a good special effects team, I'm well in. It depends on the film for me. That's why I like a lot of Korean films recently, because of the difference in them compared to Hollywood.
Would you recognise the name of a Korean director?
Certain ones, yeah.
Right. So
like I'd like Train to Busan.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen
I've
that
not seen it
recently.
yet,
It's
no.
a Korean
That's
zombie
the same
film.
guy that did The Host, though, isn't
Yes, yeah. Who we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Fantastic film because it's style-wise, music, acting.
Oh, he's the same guy
special
that did
effects.
Snowpiercer. Right,
I think
okay.
so. Yeah. Great film. So for me, I don't have any particular director that I've gone out and gone, I need to watch all of their films. I pick films based on interest. Like, I'm not going to go and watch all of Scorsese's films if certain ones of them are not about a subject matter, or I haven't heard that there's something special or different about them that's going to make me want to watch it. I haven't got the time for that.
Every Scorsese movie is special, but it's when he's doing...
They might be special in one way, but would they be special in enough ways that it would interest me? That's the problem I have. Like, time to watch stuff, you know. I've got a lot going on. I can't just sit down and go, right, I'm going to watch everything Spielberg's done, everything George Lucas has done, everything Scorsese's done, everything that Chai Han's done. You know, I just...
Okay, so what I'm thinking is the way that studios used to release movies is that they used to attach stars that would draw people into the cinema, like I said earlier on with Tom Hardy. I like to think now that we live in an age where people recognise the director first, or at least some people.
No, we're just nerds on a podcast, mate.
Yeah.
It's not just us, though, is it?
No, there's different types of people. There's a lot of people that aren't as nerdy as us that still go because they recognise the director name. Other people go because of the star.
Okay.
You know, it's some people
I
just
suppose
go
with
because
Marvel,
it's a film with a shark in. Or
with Marvel,
I
it's
think
the
the mainstream it is people are going to go and watch Baywatch because I remember Baywatch.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's got the Rock in it.
Oh, it's got
Baywatch had
no,
tits.
better example is
Baywatch had tits.
people are going
Yeah.
and watching Alien, and it doesn't matter that Ridley Scott directed it.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
makes no,
They're going
Makes
to
no
absolutely
difference.
difference at all.
It's a shame, isn't it?
But then I think it depends what you want to get out of a movie. The people that are going to go and watch something just because it's got Alien in the title and aren't going to be bothered if the storyline's brilliant. So it's this people that really loved Prometheus.
Yeah.
They're not going to care that the
They don't
biologist
exist,
guy
mate.
goes, "Oh, look, it's a little snake." Yeah, you're a biologist. You're not going to just go, something that's a python stroke alien snake poisonous monster thing.
I'm a Prometheus apologist, actually.
Well, yeah, you should apologise and get the fuck out of there. We'll
But
finish
do you know what I
this
mean?
without
Like
you.
there's people that will go to see it who haven't watched any other Alien films and have heard about that film and gone, "Oh, it's got aliens in and sounds really scary." So they go and watch it, and then they might go and watch the other Alien films afterwards.
Right.
Then there's other people that just go to cinema every evening because they've got nothing better to do and just watch shit, and they don't care what they're watching. They just watch stuff for entertainment value. That's as much as, does it make me laugh? Does it scare me? Or is it going to make me cry? That's all they want.
Okay.
So I think the nerds of us in the world are a little bit more critical.
Do you have any favourite directors, Paul?
I'm going to be a bit
John Hughes.
obvious here. Oh well, John Waters.
Yeah.
John Waters.
Who's John Waters? What's he done?
Did he?
One of his best ones is Pink Flamingos.
Yeah.
His most famous one, which I haven't even bothered to watch, to be honest with you, is Hairspray.
Oh, right.
I've no interest in that one. But his early stuff.
He's done some weird and dark stuff at times,
Yeah.
hasn't he?
So I'd say John Waters. I'd say Lynch. I'd say Kubrick. And then just throw a spanner in the works.
Hang on.
Godfrey Ho and Wiseau.
Okay, before you get too far. Right, let's go back to the beginning of that list. So, John Waters, we discussed. Who did you say next?
Lynch.
David Lynch.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd agree with that. What, early stuff or commercial stuff?
All of it. I mean, Eraserhead is just nightmarish stuff. I've seen it twice now, and it's just, you have
Are you
to.
a fan of the Pixies?
Yeah, but a little.
Well,
I've not. I
the
don't know
band?
enough of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know enough about them.
Do you know the connection?
No.
Okay, Girl in the Radiator song.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is that them?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
That's
That's
Pixies.
great. That was the Pixies.
The Pixies, I think, may have covered it or something weird.
I know someone's. I know it's been covered by a couple of people. It is a great little.
It's the song that's the woman in the Radiator sings, isn't it? And they've covered it as a rock song.
I always get Lynch and Cronenberg muddled. Well,
there's some weird,
like the same.
Yeah, there's some weird crossover,
different.
Isn't
They're
there?
really different.
I don't know. There's some weird crossover in there between the two.
I
of them,
really like Lynch, but I'm not a massive fan of Cronenberg.
Really?
So yeah,
okay.
So I can explain the difference. Cronenberg's really body horror centric, and there's lots and lots of practical effects and gore. David Lynch, it's all about the symbolism and about trying to confuse
there are
your
some
brain.
weird body moments in Lynch that cross over with the Cronenberg's
Body
more
moments in
nightmarish. Like
he doesn't use special effects.
No, but just weird moments where there's like the way things are filmed, the body looks weird. So it kind of almost visualises.
He uses strange-looking people.
Yeah, yeah.
He uses like the village freak type people.
He generally likes them as well in a particular way to really what's the word?
Accentuate.
That's the one. Features. So I suppose in that sense, he does like to contort and exaggerate.
It puts you outside of your comfort zone with what you're watching.
Yeah,
and he does that a lot with audio as well. Like he'll have a club scene where the audio is really hard to listen to because the music's so loud.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what the characters are saying, and you end up just making it up for yourself.
Is it Eraserhead with the weird little guy? Which Lynch film is it? There's a weird little guy that's like obviously been scaled down,
right,
and is stood next to like a table or something. And he's not actually as short as he looks. It's a practical effect that he's been made to look shorter.
Right.
Like he's a normal sized guy, but he just looks weird. And there's just something about the way that guy
What's going on in the scene?
Can't remember, but I just remember the way the guy moves his arms. When I first saw that, I thought it was Cronenberg because of the weird movement of the guy. And it wasn't until afterwards that I found out it was a Lynch film.
Was it not it sounds like it could be a scene from Fire Walk with Me.
That's the
Twin Peaks
prequel.
Prequel, yeah. I was that's the only one I struggled with really, but I love Twin Peaks. I love Eraserhead. Some of his earlier stuff. I think it was Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, that was
great.
Really haunting.
That's a bit more kind of. We've mentioned this on the podcast before. It's a bit more mainstream. It's like a nice sort of like. It's still really, really. What kind of a movie does he make?
Psychological headfuck.
Yeah, surrealist headfuck film.
It's still a surrealist movie, but it's got enough mainstream stuff in it to make it acceptable for most audiences. There are still people that would just not enjoy themselves. You know, if you're the sort of person that goes and sees a movie just because it's got Tom Holland in it, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you are able or wanting to wrap your brain around something for a while, it's fucking good. It's really good.
See, I get so confused by Cronenberg and Lynch. I think Dennis Hopper's in Scanners.
Although Scanners, that's a great film as well.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a really good film. I can see what you mean comparison-wise with certain shots. It's the way he films expressions.
It almost has that warping of the face because of the way he films
and
it.
It's
the
lingering of certain features.
He'll use the camera to sort of zoom in at an odd angle that then almost out focuses the edges so things look like they're coming out at you more.
Does
it's
he
a
do
very good way of filming.
Thing where you zoom in and open your aperture at the same time, so it does that weird thing where
I know what you mean.
It looks like
the
you're
Spielberg.
zooming
Was it
in
Spielberg?
so you're zooming in, but the shot's getting wider at the same time. And
was that Hitchcock?
I don't know.
Did that originally? I
Probably.
think.
Lottie Bowater, if you happen to be listening, I want to shoot these guys for getting these two mixed up as well. But anyway, another director. Who did you say next?
I said Kubrick.
Kubrick, okay.
Yeah.
He's pretty sort of mainstream.
Totally.
People know him, don't they?
Yeah.
So 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange and The Shining.
Okay.
Yeah, can't fault him.
Stephen King doesn't like his version.
That's
of
the thing
Shining.
for me with Kubrick. I cannot stand 2001 Space Odyssey.
Really?
Yeah, I just find it doesn't
it's
do
a bit
anything.
Boring, but
it just doesn't do anything. It just doesn't do anything to me. I don't find it breathtaking. I don't find it boring. It's just an existence while it's on.
The effects for the time are bloody groundbreaking.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's what it is. I mean,
but that's what I mean about I wouldn't want to watch a whole of a particular director's works based on a couple of films that I really like.
Yeah.
Like Clockwork Orange, brilliant. Like various other films he's done have been brilliant.
It's because of the big ceramic penis, isn't it?
2001 Space Odyssey doesn't get a reaction out of me, either bad or good. Like I am literally like.
But I think that's the point of that film.
line.
It's benevolent, isn't it? You're there for the ride.
Yeah, but the ride doesn't do anything for me, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a long, drawn-out ride. There are moments where it's that motorway, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can appreciate the technical brilliance of it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good film in my eyes.
It's got the greatest
jump cut I was
jump
trying to say before, but
ever put onto film.
Oh, is it the bone to the spaceship?
The bone's like 10 million years in a jump cut.
Yeah.
It's just Actually, it's the second best jump cut.
What's the first?
It's not as good as a jump cut when Lawrence of Arabia stubs a match out between his two fingers and it jump cuts to the sun rising across the desert.
That's a good one.
That's the best jump cut of all time ever.
Okay.
Top 10 favourite jump cuts.
Top 10
That's our subject next week.
No, just briefly on Kubrick, it's quite easy to watch his back catalogue because he wasn't hugely prolific and he's no longer alive. There's probably about 12 movies tops, and you've probably seen some of them already.
Yeah.
But would I... That's the other thing. Like, for me, that's what I say. Like, would I be interested in some of those films?
Full Metal Jacket?
Seen it, yeah.
So you've seen most of them?
Yeah.
It's quite... I struggle
But I wouldn't say he's necessarily my favourite director. You know, it's like Spielberg does these beautiful one-shot scenes in his films. Doesn't make me want to go and watch all of his films because I really appreciate the way he's done the one-shot scenes. You know, like what's really good about Jaws doesn't make me want to watch E.T.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
That's true.
That is true. Although he's quite broad in his movies, isn't he, Spielberg?
Yeah.
So...
But do you know what I mean? Like for people, like for directors that have done a small amount of films and directors that have done shitloads, none of them. I just watch what I want to see and what I want to watch and what stands out to me rather than.
I think the argument
in the middle. Oh,
I think the argument for Spielberg is on his day he's almost impossible to beat. Like he's made some films that it's hard to argue that they're absolute categoric masterpieces.
Yeah, and you've got to remember as well, the thing you say about E.T. and Jaws is that they are completely different ends of the... You know, they're different.
Oh, yeah.
They're opposite poles to each other. One's a children's movie, the other one's a horror movie. So to have a director who is as good as he is...
But that's what I'm saying.
You don't get many that do both, do you?
No.
I think what I'm trying to say, if you've got a genuine fascination and interest in direction, then you would watch everything by that person.
Yeah.
But if you also need the draw of the subject matter and that's where it's going to...
And that's just as important as, like, not all films by a director who's an amazing director are necessarily good because the direction's good. The film may be directed beautifully and have genius special effects, but it could be a pile of shit storyline-wise and have awful acting. But people will say it's a masterpiece because of the director. There's a lot of that. Like it's your choice.
Yeah,
you're gonna think.
But we all know, or at least we all hope we know. At least I hope we all know that a good director is the one that will stop his cast and say, "No, you're not doing it right. Read it this way or read it that way," until he gets his vision on screen.
Yeah,
and all right.
Sometimes his vision won't work for everyone, but it still might be a very good film.
Yeah,
you know, it's just that's why I don't have a particular director as such. I just like a lot of different movies.
Have you seen a movie called Hail Caesar by any chance?
No.
There's a really good part in that with the guy that's going to play Han Solo in the Solo movie.
Yeah.
What's his name? Can you remember?
No.
Guy that isn't Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
that'll do it.
Oh, there were some pictures of him actually released this week in the costume, as it happens. Alden Ehrenreich. Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
Who's playing Han Solo?
Just by his name, you know, right? Ricky Gervais and Steve Merchant do this thing where if you announce a name of a band like they're at a concert, and it just doesn't come off the tongue right, you know they're never going to make it.
Right.
So their example is, and good evening Wembley and welcome on stage, Ned Atomic Dustbins. Yeah.
Right.
Broad sweeping statement. His name, just that the potential for him to never he'll get the curse of a big budget Star Wars movie, and if it falls flat, then he'll never work in Hollywood again.
But wouldn't you have said that about Cumberbatch?
Yeah. Viggo Mortensen. There's loads of actors with weird names that most people won't be able to pronounce.
However, Benedict Cumberbatch is a bit of a tour de force, isn't he?
Just watch him do Smaug. Just watch his performance capture of Smaug.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Okay.
Like,
Of
you
what?
think he just did the voice of Smaug,
The dragon.
but he didn't.
You'll hate it.
Okay. Cool.
It's Lord of the Rings. No, it's
right.
not. It's The Hobbit. But still, yeah. So my point was, there's a really good scene in Hail Caesar with Aiden Eric, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Aaron Rick, being directed by Ralph Fiennes, but with Ralph Fiennes being the director, and it's just this hilarious little kind of back and forth between the two, and him going off to do his part again and filming it, and he can't get it right. Coming back, and the director just approaching him in different ways, trying to eke this performance out of him. The interchange is genius.
Yeah.
And actually, as it happens, that's directed by one of my favourite directors or directing teams of all time, which is the Coen brothers.
Very good. Yeah, I like them. Yeah.
And they are a pair of directors who have a continuing, like, theme as far as the feel of their characters and things is concerned across literally all of their
the
movies.
guys that did Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
Fargo.
Yeah.
The Hudsucker Principle.
Because I've never seen Fargo.
Have you not?
No, I've seen a lot
me.
of their other films, but
It's
Fargo
fucking
never
They did
never stood out to me.
They did True Grit. They did.
Not seen that.
That's very, very good as well. What's the one about the baby going missing with
Baby's Day Out.
No,
Juliette Lewis and Nick Cage.
Raised in Arizona.
Yeah. I've seen Raising Arizona. I've seen that. Yeah.
And then a more serious film, Miller's Crossing.
Yeah.
Again,
Never finished that.
Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And being Llewellyn Davis as well, with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen that.
It's all of their films for me, with the exception of a couple. They're all fantastic.
The Lady Killers isn't very good, is it?
It's not great. No.
What was the other director
I think
you mentioned, Paul? You mentioned a weird director's name that I'm
You
intrigued.
did. There was another one.
Well, it's Godfrey Ho.
Yeah.
Who
Who's
the hell's
Godfrey
that?
Ho?
Godfrey Ho
This name sounds familiar, but
is guilty, and I don't use that lightly. He's guilty for all the really, really, really bad ninja movies
Okay.
in the
Right.
80s.
Right.
For anybody out there interested, just check out one of my particular favourites, Ninja Terminator.
oh, it's
Okay.
him. Yeah.
And he did some belters. Same with,
Did he do the American Ninja series of films?
I don't think he did.
Right.
No.
Okay.
They're
in very
I
much
don't
his
think they allowed
style.
him anyway. It's very much his style.
Yeah.
Where all the ninjas have to wear Dayglow pink
Yeah.
and have to have ninja written across their forehead
Yeah.
to be real ninja. Yeah.
So
Sounds
good.
And they all have to own a Garfield phone. There's just so many amazing moments in Ninja Terminator. And honourable mention to, he's not directed many films, but anyone out there who's watched The Room,
Yeah.
What, the really bad one?
yeah,
Okay, because
That's-
there's a confusion, because there's a good room and a terrible
there's a good
The
room, and then there's terrible The Room, and that is just mind-blowingly bad. And you see an interview with the guy, and he just doesn't see it at all.
Right.
He's
It's a bit of a Troll 2 moment thing, is it?
it's better
Yeah,
than that.
yeah.
It's one of the best bad films ever.
There are people that screen this just so that people can go and mock it, aren't there?
It's beyond. It's so bad. You've got that. It's so bad it's good, and then it's so bad this is just fucking genius.
Right.
It's just, where is the what?
So it's gone past terrible.
It's gone past terrible. It's just this is a masterpiece of how bad. It's just.
So let me get this
It's
right.
a genius
have to
that
watch-
someone can
it's-
find that much money in funding
it's
from other people to make a film.
it's negative
that bad.
genius.
Yeah.
It's and on that it's the other end of infinity.
You could power a
It's
spaceship with it.
Oh yeah, you've got to watch it to get the full impact of it.
Have you watched Sleepaway Camp yet?
No, but can I just make an honourable mention also to get out anyone on YouTube, near YouTube at the moment, pause the podcast, go and watch. Just type in Star Wars Waizu. And what they've done is taken the first 3, and I mean the original 3, not the other bollocks. The original 3, and they've
4,
dubbed,
5, and 6.
Yeah, and they've 4, 5, and 6, and they've dubbed them with all the characters from the Room. And Tommy Wiseau, who plays the main character in that film, is Darth Vader, and it's just fucking mind-blowing.
Amazing.
It is just... Watch the film first, then go back and watch them, and they are just mind-blowingly good.
Okay. Remind me about Darth Vader at the end. I've got something to stick in to lighten things. Ross, favourite directors?
Honestly, it's probably Stanley Kubrick's up there. David Lean. They're my 2 favourite
Who's
dead
David Lean?
directors.
Sorry.
Right. Right. The thing is, my argument with directors are, if their body of work's quite small, it's quite easy for them to be really, really good and never have made a bad... Like, Kubrick's never really made a bad movie because he's made, 12.
Right.
And David Lean's made about 10, and they're all incredible. Whereas, Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg are quite prolific, and they don't allow themselves to get typecast into a genre or anything.
Yeah.
And so some of their movies aren't as good as others.
Fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, David Lean definitely
What
is
did he do?
What's
he
done?
directed Lawrence of Arabia, Dr.
Oh,
Zhivago.
Okay. Yeah.
Those that... Okay, so he's really into his cinematics. Just really massively,
Bridge on the River
photographic.
Kwai.
Okay.
Big, wide, open,
Ryan's
long shots
daughter.
of scenery.
But yeah, he
and
genuinely has
landscape,
only directed about 10 movies.
Right.
Cool.
But they are all beautiful.
Oh yeah, they're all incredible.
Right.
And just some of them they're a bit long, probably some of them at times, but they're all amazing. Probably living, just Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese.
Right.
I couldn't choose one over the other.
Fair enough.
But
What is it you like about...
You could probably find 20 of each
Scorsese
of their
and-
movies that I'd love.
What is it in particular? Is there anything in particular you like about the way they direct films, or is it just generally you just like all the films they've directed?
I think
or different things.
Spielberg's just, Spielberg's just always good and occasionally exceptional.
Right.
And honestly, just Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List are 2 of the finest pieces of cinema ever. But Martin Scorsese, any of his gangster stuff, when I would say gangster, I just mean sort of American street level crime movies he makes are just amazing. There's so many of them. You got Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, Goodfellas. I mean, Goodfellas is one of the best films ever made.
Did he do Casino
it's
as well?
criminal that it didn't win Best Picture and Best Director.
Yeah, fair enough.
Casino is sort of like a gloss. I like Casino because it's a Vegas version of Goodfellas. It's not as good as Goodfellas, but they try it.
It's sleazier though. It's so
but
sleazy,
it's so horribly sleazy.
Is that
but
Scorsese
it's
as well?
all painted
or-
with the glitz and glamour of Vegas, and that's what makes it brilliant.
Yeah.
Is that Scorsese as well?
Yeah, but
okay.
Scorsese he
I
gets
didn't
brilliant
realise that.
performances out of actors. He obviously worked with De Niro for so many films, and De Niro is practically incredible in everything he's ever done for Scorsese.
Right.
But he's just some of the shots. I guess we always say we'll talk about directors, but what we're really talking about is their DPs as well. A lot of the time, isn't it?
Their DPs?
Yeah, the director of photography.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
sure.
Because the director gets a lot of the credit when quite often it's the people doing a lot of the work that they want and actually creating their vision to how they want it, rather than necessarily them themselves doing it. I suppose a lot of people forget about that.
Yeah, I mean Scorsese specifically, some of his single camera shots that he does are ridiculous. Like the one, again, Goodfellas and Casino. The one where he goes in, it follows him on the night out, and they go into the nightclub through the back entrance, and they get out of the car, and it literally the camera follows them all the way through to when they sit down at the front of the stage.
You don't see many other directors even tackle that sort of thing. Do you?
There's a really good bit in when they explain how the system works in Vegas, and then they do the thing, and the pit boss is watching the Iron Sky, and that's just fucking fantastic as well.
Okay.
Was it
I need to go back
Scorsese
and
that did
revisit those.
Raging Bull?
Yeah, Raging Bull's really good.
That's one of my
And-
favourite films.
But the movie none of you have probably, I'm having a guess, but a lot of you won't have seen, is called The King of Comedy.
yeah,
Okay. Not seen
great
it.
film.
And it is more relevant now than it's ever been. It's one of those movies that's, how do you say, you can cut this out, but a prophecy.
It's prolific.
Yeah.
No, not prolific.
No, it's
Prophecy.
Prophetic.
Prophetic. Yeah.
Prophetic.
Say it again.
It's about. It's a movie that is so far ahead of its time. It was made in like the early 80s, and it's prophetic
right.
in its understanding of the rise of like celebrity culture.
Oh right, okay.
And it's about it's De Niro again.
It's a really good film, actually.
He plays a stand-up comic who's never done a day's stand-up in his life outside of his mum's bedroom, but is convinced he's the best stand-up comedian in the world.
Okay.
And he and it's literally, it is just a pastiche of X Factor, because he is not prepared to go out and gig. He thinks the way he can do it is just to go straight up to Jerry Lewis's office and go, Jerry Lewis, I want to be on your, look, here's my sketch for tonight, put me on your TV show.
Yeah.
Right.
So imagine if I just decided I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and then I went to, and all I did was just hound, what's his face? Who's the... I've forgotten his name. Got kicked off the BBC for making lewd jokes.
Jonathan Ross.
Jonathan Ross, yeah. If all I did was just bug Jonathan Ross, trying to get him. Can I open your show?
Right.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And
But painful.
deeply troubling. But it might be my favourite Martin Scorsese movie, and it is so far away from anything else Scorsese's ever done.
I need to rewatch that because I really enjoyed that film when I saw it, and I haven't seen it for a while. It's highly hilarious, but like you say, very disturbing.
Like if you remade it now, it wouldn't feel out of place.
Right.
If you remade it now, it would probably be deemed as not a particularly original idea, because it's
on the nose.
It's so blazing. But like when it was made in like 1982, it was just light years ahead of itself.
Cool.
I have got a director.
Watch that.
I've just realised I have got a director that I have seen everything they've probably ever made and love every single piece, and that's Terry Gilliam.
All right, cool. Okay.
Like everything from Brazil through to like 12 Monkeys through to
well,
love it all.
He's had a couple of stumbling blocks, hasn't he? What's that one from?
There's a TV show,
12 Monkeys.
isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's
Is
not
there?
very good.
Yeah, it was
It's
okay
really
for
not
the
very
first 3 or 4 episodes, and it was rubbish.
No,
But Terry Gilliam, I like all of his.
the Brothers Grimm is not great at all.
I didn't realise that one was him,
Yeah,
actually.
He also really struggles to get his films made.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he picked up Good Omens, the rights for Good Omens a few years back. I mentioned this in the American Godcast, actually. But he struggled to get that one off the ground. He couldn't get funding.
He does tend to have either funding issues, or a couple of times now he's had main actors die during the making of films.
The Imaginarium of Dr. Panassus.
Yeah, which
being,
is harsh.
Yeah,
you know.
one of them. Heath Ledger, wasn't it?
But I really liked the film anyway. I thought it was really clever how he dealt with the fact that the main actor died. And that, to me, is a testament to what he can do in that situation. A lot of people would have just gone, we won't do it then. We'll just cancel the film. He went, no, we'll finish it. We'll just find an interesting way to make it work.
Yeah. Well, I suppose
I think it did.
Did he rewrite it to fit with that? I don't know.
I don't think he
It's a
rewrote
great
it as
movie.
such. I think he just changed what he was going to do with that character and brought in other actors to play different versions of the character. So.
It's a great movie, and it suffers with the same problem that most Terry Gilliam movies suffer from, and there's only a select audience that will watch them, that will enjoy them. And
they
go
are
back
a
for
very
another one.
niche type of movie.
Yeah.
Like Brazil's pretty out there. The one more recently, with the dude from Inglourious Bastards, the first scene. Can't think of the actor's
Terry
name.
Gilliam movies.
Oh, I know. Dude, where's my baseball bat? That's the opening scene from Inglourious Bastards.
The guy in the house where the Jew's hiding underneath the floorboards.
Oh,
Christoph Waltz.
That's the one. Yeah. the Terry Gilliam film with him recently was absolutely superb.
Which one's that then?
I can't think.
Oh,
what
is
it's
it the one
called.
about the circus?
Zero.
No. Should we look it up?
Dark 30.
No.
Did he do Time Bandits as well?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah,
That was a great kids film.
Like so, and that's
And
the thing
Baron
that I
von
love.
Munchausen as well.
Yeah.
And,
I love his films. They've got
Fear
that.
and Loathing.
Yeah, they got that crazy, visually epic style to them, with an element of like fucked up sci-fi or fantasy that I can get on board with.
Oh, here's a director who's not hugely prolific and hasn't. I don't think he's made a bad film, but doesn't mean they're actually good. They're more just remixes of other films. Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on my
just
list.
steals a lot of stuff from other film ideas.
Is it the
or
Zero
franchises.
Theorem?
That's the one. Yeah,
I've not seen it. So
Yeah.
it's good, is it?
yeah, really good. It's very much Brazil sort of level Gilliam. It's
Okay.
very, very odd, but very beautiful. And my favourite film of his is The Kingfisher
Oh yeah,
with Robin Williams.
yeah, that's very good.
My favourite performance by Robin Williams ever.
It's a beautiful
And,
film.
I can't believe it didn't win anything because
Is
it
that the
was
one
nominated.
when he dies and he's wandering through heaven or something?
No, it's
He's
a
a-
homeless guy and a writer who's become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Very good film.
Yeah.
Tarantino, you mentioned, he's on my list. And in actual fact, of all the directors that were on my list, I've only got 3 left because they've already been mentioned. So, because everyone else has already been mentioned. So Quentin Tarantino is one of them.
He's a weird one though because
I still don't think he's done a bad movie.
I think
But
he's
when
done
you
a
realise-
lot of bad movies.
I think when you realise how much he's actually nicked from other films,
that's the problem.
That's the problem I have.
The first scene in
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards with Christoph
I hate
Waltz
that film.
over the floorboards
You
is
hate
brilliant.
Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, everything
Yeah, I
after
do.
that
Can't
first
stand it.
scene. That first scene is horribly how I imagine it would feel to be claustrophobic, stuck under the floorboards, hiding from Nazis.
It's got lots
And then
of those
after that,
moments.
it's just crap. It was just like
It's supposed to be kind of throwaway. Is the problem
Yeah,
that you
but-
have with it, Ross? Is it because you're a fan of the whole war drama?
I was
thing?
going to say, you said it worse than I was going to say it because you were like, you're a fan of the war. I was going to say, I probably don't like it because I'm fond of the Second World War.
Yeah.
This is equally as bad.
But I
said
don't
war
find
drama,
it. I
but
don't
yeah.
find it
Yeah, the problem.
funny when he's trying to make it a funny thing, using his style of humour and offensiveness in something that's war based, and it's like
If you forget
It's
about the
just
movie
not
as
funny.
a whole and break it down into its individual parts, though, each of them are fucking brilliant, tension building, really good set pieces. And that's what I love about Tarantino. The fact that you can drive a scene and
But it's
keep you
all set
hanging on.
pieces from other films.
He's got patience.
That's the problem.
He's like the Radiohead of bloody directors.
The
He's got a
first
lot of
like
patience.
5 or 6 films he did, like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, things like that. He'd taken ideas from other film genres,
Yeah.
but he did his own thing with it.
Yeah.
From Kill Bill onwards, Kill Bill 1 and 2 onwards, everything he's done has just been literally scene for scene taken from other film genres and placed together in a storyline order that he likes.
Well, I don't know about that. But
I
still.
really like Reservoir Dogs. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
really, really like it, and I really
Yeah.
like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I probably think Reservoir Dogs is better in my opinion.
Yeah,
than
fair
Pulp
enough.
Fiction.
Jackie Brown's a good film. Like, do you know what I
It's
mean?
not one of my favourites,
It's not
but-
the strongest one he's done, but it's a good film.
Did he direct Jackie Brown?
I think so.
Or did he just write it?
Oh, he may have just written it.
No, he didn't write it. He directed it.
Did he? Right.
It's
okay.
not.
Is that
It's
the problem?
it's a book by not Leonard Nimoy, not the guy who wrote an American crime novelist. It's
Right.
called Rum Punch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elroy Leonard, maybe.
Okay.
But then, like, with
If that's right or not, we don't know. But
Kill
leave it in the
Bill's,
comments if
Kill
you know.
Bill's the main issue for me, because like you can literally find every single scene from that film in all of the 70s and 80s Asian
Kill
cinema,
Bill, that's the
taken
point of
and
the film, though.
splattered together.
That's the point of the
But
movie.
it doesn't make
It's
it.
supposed to be a homage to
But it's not a homage. There's
martial
no
arts movies.
homage.
I mean,
in
it's almost at times it's almost a manga, isn't it?
it's almost
Yeah.
offensive.
Well, it is a manga in places. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just
Well, in one
almost
place.
offensive though, because it's not a proper homage. It's just a rip-off with Uma Thurman in it.
It's one of my stumbling blocks with him,
Yeah,
but it's okay. It's the first one's better than the second,
I
in my
haven't
opinion.
seen
And I've
what's-
said it before on this podcast. I want a Redux version. I want
Yeah.
a fan edit. If anyone knows of a fan edit
What
out there,
a 2 hour version of those two movies?
Yeah.
yeah.
Not
a 2-hour version of them slapped together and reordered.
Yeah.
Because I haven't watched the Slave one yet.
The Django, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Django Unchained.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, purely because of how much I disliked Inglourious Bastards and some of the other
I
stuff
watched it
he's
with the
been
wrong
involved
people.
with.
I'd like to go back and watch it again.
Do you know-
Cinematically, it looked great, but the music fucking weirded me out because it's loads of gangster rap and
Yeah.
stuff
Oh, is
in a
it?
western.
Oh, so he's
type
tried to do the
sort of thing. It's a bit
RZA
weird.
thing.
It was
RZA.
originally a blaxploitation film, wasn't it?
Was it?
The original story,
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
I think that's what he's harking back to that.
So he's trying to do the RZA thing from
The RZA,
Man with the Iron
the
Fist and put
ODB.
modern rap
Inspector
music to an
Deck.
old story. Interesting.
Okay,
The
other
Wu-Tang. Sorry, can I just say one
Go
thing
on.
about
Wu-Tang.
Inglourious Bastards
Go
real
on,
quick?
yes.
It isn't as good as Danger 5.
No.
That's
Five.
amazing.
I don't know.
Danger 5 is the best comedy about the
Yeah.
Second World War.
Yeah.
Okay, who's it by?
It's a series, isn't it?
It's weird. It's right. Imagine this.
Is it Australian or New Zealand?
You'll watch the trailer
Australian,
and go,
I think.
I need to see all of this. Yeah, it's an Australian production. It is Police Squad.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
but
With
the
Power
Second
Rangers.
World War never ended, and
Yeah.
it's the 1960s, and the Allies are still fighting the Nazis.
Right.
So it's all of the
Police Squad
colours
cross
and
Thunderbirds,
brightness and
basically.
misogyny and everything, and the drinking and the smoking, everything about the 60s, but they're still fighting Nazis.
It's kind
Right,
of
okay.
almost Garth Marenghi in places as
oh
well.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
very
very much.
Garth. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really
Purposely
it takes an
bad.
awful lot, doesn't it, from all the 60s and 70s sci-fi sort
But-
of crime drama. Type
But they're
of things.
basically the Thunderbirds, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's
yeah.
a really good comparison.
Thunderbirds cross Police Squad with... it's the guy that's constantly smoking,
Thanks, Chris.
but he's always got a full-length cigarette just in his hand, and it's always lit, and you never actually see him smoke, but it's always in between his fingers. No matter what he's doing, if he's holding a gun, there's a cigarette sticking out from between his fingers.
Right.
It's just mental.
Okay, watch list for me this week then. Danger 5 and The King of Comedy. Right, honourable mentions from me. Akira Kurosawa,
Yeah.
because, if you don't know who he is, then if you've seen Magnificent Seven, then he made the original
Yeah.
Seven
Seven.
Samurai.
That's high. That's quite often regarded as one of the top 10 movies ever made. isn't
Yeah,
it?
I'd agree with
it is
that,
very
definitely.
good. And he did others. Yojimbo, which was remade as Fistful of Dollars,
Oh, okay.
I do believe.
Ah, right.
And anything in Star Wars is basically one of his films.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Danny Boyle.
space.
Nobody brought up Danny Boyle either. I think
No.
he's a bloody good director.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle gets hugely overlooked, but I think it's because a lot of his films are low budget.
Well,
And
yeah,
I
this
think
is
that's
true.
why.
Although
but
he's
he-
made really, really important, iconic movies, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I don't think he's ever made a bad film, and he's definitely made the best horror movie ever made. And
Well,
that's
28
without-
Days Later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
categorically.
Yeah. Best modern zombie film,
That's certainly
basically.
very
Like, it heads above all the rest.
The Beach. Back
Yeah,
in its day,
yeah, that was
like
good,
when we were
yeah.
all travelling, when we were in our teens. That was like one of those movies that, I want to go back to Thailand.
Paul sat there going, like Chris is going, yeah, when we were all travelling, when we were young, Paul's like, I'm from Manchester,
I
mate.
travelled from Manchester to the Isle of Wight. That's about as much as we do from the north. Shallow
Yeah,
Grave,
I went
wasn't
the
that
other
his as
way.
well?
Shallow Grave,
Yeah.
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 Train spotting. Well, train spotting.
Trainspotting, yeah.
I've not seen the second one yet.
Really good.
And
It fits perfectly in the time gap
Right.
for the characters as much as in reality.
Cool.
Yeah, I
more
really
recently,
like
Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh, fuck
And
yeah.
the 2012 Olympic Games opening ceremony. I
Yeah.
was so hungover when I watched the opening ceremony. I think I cried for about an hour.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause it's just like when you're like really hungover and you're just feeling a little
Was it
bit
Dizzy
needy, and
Rascal
it was
in the
just like,
Council House of
no,
Lights
it's just
coming
like-
out of the
it was
stage?
like- it just, when you just got that thing where you're like, bloody hell, my country's brilliant. Look at this. The Queen jumped out of a helicopter and turned into James
That
Bond.
was
I'm like,
amazing.
this
Dizzy
is-
Rascals
That's
made a
very
council
incredible.
house catch fire.
And then Tim Berners-Lee comes on and goes, I've just invented the internet. Have it.
So anyway, there you go. That's a big old intro into a big old look behind our favourite directors and stuff. I think that was our subject for the
And-
week.
Yeah.
And George Lucas.
Another one, just honourable mention actually. The guy, he's doing. They've just stopped the possibility of him doing an Alien film because Ridley Scott's a dick.
Neil
Neil
Blomkamp.
Blomkamp.
Yeah, Blomkamp that did District 9, Elysium, and
He's
Chappie.
very good, isn't he?
Those 3 films to me as a series work brilliantly.
One to watch,
They make
actually.
sense.
In actual fact, if you're 14 years old and listening to this podcast, you probably shouldn't be because we swear a lot. But still, if you're listening to us in 10 years' time, and by some strange happenstance, our
world
podcast
hasn't
has
been blown up.
or we've made it, and we've continued to make this podcast on a weekly basis, and we're old men by now, sitting in front of microphones. But
Speak
still,
by now.
once upon
we
a
already
time,
are.
just remember that we told you to look out for Neil Blomkamp and Denis Villeneuve, the guy that's directing Blade Runner 2049 and Dune, that's coming up very soon. He's just directed Arrival, and so far Sicario, his output so far has been just beautiful. Really good director. One to watch out for in the future, I think.
Yeah, get down the bookies now.
But
let's just have a little wrap up. Who's our worst director? Just to wrap this segment up.
I reckon I know
I think
who
it's quite
yours
easy
is.
because mine is. Who do you think mine is?
Kevin Smith.
No, I love Kevin
really?
Smith.
Oh, I thought you'd be a Kevin Smith
I'm
hater.
going to
as a
let you
director.
lot announce mine.
I think Paul's is Michael Bay,
Yep.
without a shadow of
Okay.
a doubt.
I
That's fair
totally agree. That would
That's
probably
gotta
be
be
my
Adams
worst
as well, isn't it?
director.
Mine's Chris Nolan. Garbage. Never made a decent film. Absolute tosh.
Actually,
Everything he's
that's
ever
so
made.
difficult. I agree with both of those so much.
I
It
should've
actually
put-
makes me hurt.
I should have put Chris Nolan in my top 5, shouldn't I?
No, you shouldn't, because he's rubbish.
No, he's not.
He is.
He's all right. He's very good.
He's not.
Just the mention of Chris Nolan made one of my bollocks try and hide back in my body.
See, I don't like Kevin Smith.
He's not the greatest director in the world, but he writes good
He's a-
stoner humour.
No offense, Kevin Smith, if you happen to be
Funny.
listening.
I think
Hi.
his stoner humour that he writes is hilarious. I don't think his direction's that clever. You know, he's good at writing fun comedy films. Wouldn't say he's a good director as such.
The bit in Clerks 2 where they have the argument about Lord of the Rings and Star Wars is it's still one of the funniest
Yeah.
things ever.
I didn't
not
mention
paid enough attention.
Edgar Wright as a good one. I didn't mention him.
Too
at
late
all.
now.
Yeah, bad ones. I'm trying to think of one because you've both gone for the 2 that I would have picked. I can't think of anyone else that I really dislike.
It's hard to think of one that you don't like, isn't it?
Because you tend to just not watch their films, don't
Yeah.
you?
But then, like, it's weird. Michael Bay in the early 90s doing, like, Con Air and those cheesy films. They're not great films, but they're fun, and his direction was brilliant. And then did Bad Boys and that, and then the longer he's
I
been
really
alive,
like The
the
Island.
worse he gets.
I really like The Island. So
I haven't
it's
seen
like
that.
a really good hangover film.
Don't know that one.
The Island. Who's it by?
Michael Bay.
Okay.
It's basically
It's a book, isn't it?
It's Clones and
Yeah.
Logan's Run.
Okay.
Right.
Isn't there a new Logan's
Yeah,
Run coming?
Logan's
Yeah.
Run.
Yeah, they are remaking
Looking
it.
for
Yeah.
that, yeah.
This guy who did 50 Shades, bloody James Foley.
What
He
else
can
has he
fuck
done?
off, can't he?
What else
Oh,
did he do?
MCG. I bet he's probably on somebody's list of really bad directors.
McG, what did he do?
Charlie's Angels.
That was a weird style of
I bet
direction,
Paul,
actually.
I bet he liked Charlie's Angels because it's got what's his face?
No, it's bollocks.
Who's the matey from
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover's fucking.
I like the first one. It was
You
a
know
good
Crispin
cheesy
Glover's-
Sunday afternoon film,
What's
but
Crispin Glover done?
You know
I know the
Crispin
name.
Glover's
he was the
fucking
dad in
mental,
Back
innit?
to the Future. He wrote a
What-
book about
Oh,
rat
yeah, yeah,
catching.
yeah.
and brought an album out, and he's
Yeah.
fucking nuts. And he's
No, I don't know about the
Well,
album.
yeah, it's right up.
Have
your
you read his
street.
book?
Oh, I've missed that.
Have you read his book on rat
Rat
catching?
catching.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
want both
amazing.
of them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right, I'm on it tonight.
I need
Send
to
me
get
a
his
link.
album.
Yeah, I need that.
I do have a large collection of celebrity albums.
I need a bit of that. Yeah, definitely.
We better wrap up this segment
Yeah.
because it's time's ticking on.
Thought he was going to say show then. Better wrap up this segment. Sit down. Get the old Clockwork Orange things on your eyes so that you can't sleep.
Right. Do we want to mention anything that we've watched this week, guys?
I watched the last series of Samurai Jack. I caught
Oh.
up and watched it.
Was it good?
And I cried like a bitch.
You cry like a bitch to everything.
No,
don't you?
seriously. Like, not the whole series, just the last episode. Well, I'm assuming it's the last episode. It came out this week, and I think there's only 10 episodes of the series. If it's not the last episode, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do now. But it's episode 10, and it's fucking heartbreaking. And the last series is so much more adult than the original 4. So they've obviously aimed it at the people that probably were
'Cause
kids when
it's a
it
big
came
old
out.
gap, isn't it? 7 years or something.
15.
Is it 15 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
2002, and then it's obviously 2007. So
Right.
yeah, it's been a long time. So
So you rate it?
yeah, it was really good. And if you're into your samurai
See-
stuff, they've brilliantly done throughout all of the series. They've brilliantly done proper homage to samurai, ninja, and sci-fi
Okay.
throughout the whole lot.
Samurai.
Even like Lone Wolf and Cub and Star Wars and stuff like that. The homage is just beautiful. Like they've done such a good job with that series. Highly recommend it. And
So
yeah, the end was.
They've
If
done.
that is the end, it's brilliant.
So they've done correctly what I was saying about Star Wars. Then, is they aimed their target audience. They know are
Yeah.
15 years older now.
Yeah. Well, I
So-
was kind of watching the new series, and I was about 4 episodes in, thinking this is really good, and it's a little bit more darker than the original series, but kids could still watch this. And then episode 5, there's this robot, and he's stood there, and this creature speaks to him, and he goes, "Oh," and he turns to the camera and goes, "He looks like a massive penis." And I was like, okay, this is definitely not aimed at kids anymore.
Okay,
Like
cool.
he's just said penis directly at the audience. This is a different direction. But yeah, highly recommend it. It's hilarious, it's dark, it's emotional, it's beautifully animated for such a simple style. It's
Fair enough.
that's what I've been watching.
I saw something that I know you'd dislike. I saw Allied this week.
What's that?
That's the movie with French actress that you really don't like.
Oh, Maureen Ploffumtard.
That's the one.
Marion
Cotillard.
Yeah, Maureen Ploffumtard.
Yeah. But
Mi-
her and Brad Pitt.
Was she French
It's like
in
the
it?
worst combination for you, isn't it?
Yeah, but I really like that film. I
What,
went to the
Allied?
cinema with it.
Oh, you've seen?
Oh yeah, I
you've
went to
seen
the
Allied?
cinema with my girlfriend. It was the first film we saw together.
Oh.
Yeah, that was fucking
Oh.
mental watching that.
Fond memory.
First film at the cinema together in a relationship, and that was a mental film to watch. But yeah, I really liked Allied. I thought it was a really good film. It's the first time in a long time that Brad Pitt's been able to act, and it's the first film I've seen her in where she's actually believable. But that's because she was French in it,
You know what?
which is a surprise
I've
because
got
she's
to-
actually French.
I've got to disagree. And that's probably the worst performance that I've seen from him in a while.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen many films since
Brad
way
Pitt-
before
Brad
Mr. and
Pitt
Mrs.
is-
Smith that I thought he was any good in.
Do you want to know his worst performance ever? 7 Years in Tibet.
Yeah.
He tries to do this Austrian accent, and he's
Yeah.
like, "I'm going to the Himalayas."
Yeah.
It's so bad.
He is far better than Allied, though.
Really?
In honesty, his performances can be fucking amazing. And
Yeah, but what has he been in recently that was any good? World War Z was awful. Like
I
it's
didn't
not
mind
necessarily true. I don't think he was bad in that.
He's all right in Fury. Fury's out, but then
Fury's
Fury's
alright.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fury was good. Yeah,
Let's IMDb him.
like since Mr. and Mrs. Smith, when Angelina Goggle Eyes got her hands on him, like he did go a bit downhill for a while. Because that's what happens when she gets with a man. Their career seems to disappear for a while, and then it suddenly comes back when she disappears.
Who else is she famously connected with?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah,
Who's Billy Bob Thornton?
The one that
there you go,
disappeared.
Casey. Yeah, I was going to say Casey.
he was
Runs,
brilliant.
runs
Yeah.
that chain of chocolate shops, doesn't he?
Moneyball is the one that I was thinking of. He's very good in Moneyball.
Not
12
heard
Years
that
a
one.
Slave. He's
Didn't
very good
like
in
that.
Really?
No.
Fuck me, it's a powerful movie.
Yeah, it's a powerful movie. I just didn't really like it.
The Big Short.
The Big Short.
Yeah, the film about the everyone fucking up the American banking system by shorting each other out on property sales.
I don't think I'd want to watch that.
It's very good, even though it's quite heavy material.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a really, really, really well put together film.
Just sounds like lots of people in offices talking about money.
It's a lot of exposition, hell of a lot. Killing Them Softly, I didn't see.
Awful.
Okay.
Awful. That
The
one.
Tree of Life.
Don't know what that is.
That's
See, this thing, half of these films
That's
I've not
a
even
Terrence
heard
Malick
of.
film,
Terrence
isn't it?
Malick movie.
There's
Yeah,
another amazing director.
yeah, but
A lot of these
really
films I've not
heavily
even heard of.
misunderstood.
So, yeah.
Not very prolific either. Makes a film every like 4 years, doesn't it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. and
in
Mrs.
Red Line
Smith
he
look
directed.
dreadful.
And Babel.
Yeah.
In actual fact, the director of Babel needs a mention as well, because that's the guy that did 21 Grams, Emeris Peros. And he did Birdman recently.
I've heard of that one.
Um,
I've not heard of his other films.
It's, what's his name? Oh, God, yeah, he's got one of these.
God.
Alejandro Gonzalez and Inarritu.
Okay, that's probably why I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, it
'Cause no one
doesn't
ever-
roll off the tongue.
People just don't say it in video reviews of films. They just go, I can't bother with this because his name's too difficult because they're lazy.
But his films are all fucking amazing. 21 Grams is the first
That's a
movie
good
that
film.
I ever saw. What's her name? Naomi Watts, is it? From King Kong?
Yeah.
She's unbelievable in it. Her performance actually destroyed me. And that's thanks to the director. He's very, very good. Right, so you forgot to remind me about the something to cheer up the mood afterwards.
Sorry, what have we got?
I'm going to link this below, but here's a...
What is it?
It's a Star Wars fan-made video of Darth Vader moments with Arnold
It's
Schwarzenegger
hilarious.
voicing Darth Vader.
It's brilliant.
So let's watch this ever so quickly. Oh dear.
The Tommy Wiseau one.
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, we were talking about him earlier. But he's directed and wrote and stars in
Right.
The Room.
Okay.
They managed to get enough material out of that film. This is how incredibly insane it is. They get enough material out of that film to voice Vader for about 3 15-minute segments each.
Right.
So they recreate each of those films
Cool.
in a short, like little 15-minute, and they're just mind-blowing.
Cool. I'll have to have a look at that. Right. So the Arnold Schwarzenegger voicing Darth Vader video, we'll link that below for you as well, folks. Should we do some gaming news, Ross?
If you want. Bought a 3DS XL, didn't I?
Oh, look at that.
I've made my opinions perfectly clear about how I feel about Nintendo and why they should just make software.
Yep.
But
Have you bought it because you want to play some Nintendo games?
yeah, basically, but it was because they were going to bring out the Nintendo 2DS XL,
Right.
which is the 3D, the 2DS, the 3DS XL, but they've just taken the 3D out and it's 130 quid new.
Right.
So I had a quick look on White Bay yesterday. There was one on there for £110, a 3DS XL, one of the new ones.
Right.
And I offered them 100 quid and they said yeah.
Cool.
Is it good?
Yeah, what I didn't know is with the new 3DS, because I'd already fallen out of love with Nintendo, it's got an eye tracking thing on the camera now, and it so it corrects the 3D based on where your head is. So the 3D looks really good.
So you
almost
could
all
sit
the
with it at a
time.
weird angle constantly playing it, and it just...
Yeah,
You
you
still
don't
have
get eye aids anymore. Basically, it's really good. It's not like
That's
someone's.
a bonus.
It's not like someone's sticking 2 pencils in your face.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's
So-
really comfortable.
So
Cool.
I went from going, I'm going to get a 2DS XL because why do I need 3D, to getting a 3DS XL and having the 3D turned flat out, full.
But
Right.
do you need to have both eyes working correctly for the 3D to work, or is it a digital 3D? Because I have issue with 3D stuff where my eyes just don't... Even though both my eyes have got great vision, they don't work together properly, so
Try
I
it out now.
cannot see 3D.
Try
Is that why you
let's
kind
try
of
it
like
out.
walk in sort of semicircles down the street?
Yeah, that's why I don't walk in a straight line, because my depth perception, because my eyes don't work together, is off.
Ah.
Like, people think I'm joking, but I really do walk in a weird line. I
Okay.
don't walk straight. It's
Shit.
not because I'm
I
drunk.
was joking.
No, people always think I'm drunk, but I'm not. I just walk funny.
Have another look at them. We'll talk while you're messing around. So, Ross, a few weeks back, you mentioned about a high-def game system that played retro games that somebody was putting together.
Yeah.
Would it have been the Hyperkin by any chance?
I've no idea, but there's the Retron 5, isn't there?
Yeah, so that's Hyperkin Retron 5, and that's the one that plays games from all the old game systems, right? So
Yeah.
that plays SNES, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo,
On the old
sorry, I said
cartridge based.
SNES.
Yeah.
But it's got all the
Master System.
console inputs and the cartridge inputs, and it's got an upscaler.
Is
as
that the
well, hasn't
Retron
it?
5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get hold of one of those for ages because it'd be so much easier than having all of the old consoles plugged in through different fucking adapter cables so that they work in an HD TV.
But they're releasing another one.
Are they?
They are, but strangely
Seems
enough,
to be really difficult to find one
strangely
online.
enough, it only takes games for the NES.
Yeah, that's annoying. I want one that does Sega
Why-
games.
Yeah.
So you've got the Hyperlink Retron 5, and they're about to release the Retron HD, which is a SNES emulator.
Yeah.
But is
So it
that
just takes
by
SNES
the same
games,
company, or
and
is
it
it a separate?
boosts them up to like, what's the biggest 4K? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it boosts them up to 4K, but it's just SNES games.
I don't know why you do
Weird.
that. If
It's
you've
weird,
got the
isn't it?
technology there to do the Sega. I mean, Sega, as well loved as the Nintendo is in the UK, Sega was absolutely huge in the
Yeah.
UK.
Yeah.
Well, my mate's nephew who listens to the show, he's got a Retron 5, and it's a beautiful bit of kit. And the fact that you can put all the different cartridges in, and I've heard mixed reviews online of some people saying that it works really well, but they can't get Sega Mega Drive games to work at all in theirs.
Right.
Other people have said theirs is really good, but the pins in the SNES bit have gone funny and it's damaging the cartridges and things. So there's
Right.
varying mixed reviews, but then other people saying it's brilliant. Why would you then release one that's only...
Strange
Nintendo,
decision.
yeah.
Very, very strange.
Maybe it's a legal thing. Maybe Nintendo don't give enough of a monkeys, whereas Sega and other companies are a bit more popular in Europe,
Maybe.
have legally gone to them and gone, look, we won't do you for the last lot if you stop doing it in the next lot.
Who's Sega owned by now, anyway?
I don't know, but they're about to start releasing games again.
Are they? So
Sega
maybe that's
is still
why.
Sega.
It's still Sega.
They just don't make hardware anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
They actually own loads of companies now because when they became a software publisher, they brought a load of THQ. Like they own Relic, which are a PC developer. That,
Aren't they linked to
they
Team
own-
17 as
They
well?
own Creative Assembly as well, which is a British publisher that makes the Total War games.
Oh, right.
And they made Alien Isolation, which I'm playing at the moment. It's really good.
Yeah,
so
I
I did
bought
read
that.
an article
You'd
earlier on.
fucking love Alien Isolation.
Yeah, I've just bought that for £2 for the PS3.
Right, let me just give you the premise. Yeah. You are Ripley's daughter going looking for Ripley,
Okay.
and you end up on this space station where the flight recorder from the Nostromo's ended up,
Right.
and also possibly an alien.
Okay.
Just one.
And you've got the little like you've got the civilian version of the motion tracker.
Right.
And yeah, you'd like it.
Is it?
It's fucking terrifying. Before
Okay.
you ask that question,
I have a problem with terrifying games. I really do. Like Dead Space, for instance. I couldn't finish Dead Space.
Yeah, that's
I got quite a long way through it, and
yeah.
it was terrifying me so much.
I like the first two of those. I didn't get on. Didn't
I've not
play
played
after
the
that.
third one. Yeah, I've not gone back.
So far, I've played Isolation for about an hour, and it's shit me up a couple of times.
Right.
you got the PS3 version.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
If I
and that's
do-
the PS3 version. So it's probably not even as.
But can I
visually
still play that on a
scary.
PS4 if I get one?
Well, got it on PS4.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, of
It's
course.
really cheap now. You could I bought it on the store for £15, and that's like the Game of Year edition. But
Right.
if you wanted a box copy, you probably get it for a tenner on eBay.
cool.
But it's very, very good.
Okie dokie. Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Yeah, Shadow of Mordor was really, really good.
So the new one's called Shadow of War. So there's a trailer out today. Did you see?
No, I haven't seen it. Been at work, mate.
Yeah. So it looks fucking amazing. So it's open world. This one. So running around.
Yeah, the first one was
The whole
sort
of
of
Middle
open
Earth.
world. It wasn't big enough that you'd call it open world, but it had two really large areas.
Okay. Battlestar Galactica. That's more up your street, Adam.
Yeah, that sounds. I didn't know there was a new game coming because
Yeah.
the old one on the PS3, the PS2 was amazing, but you couldn't get past the first level. 'Cause it was so fucking difficult.
Okay. Well, this one.
Or
is
you're bad at games.
This one's a strategy game. That
Oh,
puts you in
okay.
control of the colonies.
Oh,
and,
rather than
it's the
fight,
first Cylon War.
Oh,
Yeah.
wicked. Okay.
So I don't know when that's being released, but there is a little.
Because all the other
little
games have
teaser
been
trailer.
dogfighting, and they've just not been good enough. When you've got the Star Wars games that do dogfighting much better, so
Cool.
There haven't been one of those for 20 years, though.
no,
mate.
no. But that's true. But this looks like, yeah, if it's strategy, that far more up my street.
So we'll link the.
Tropico 5, but in space.
We will link the trailers to those two below. Far Cry 5. Did you guys play Far Cry?
I had to go on the first one, and I think the second one with some mates, and
Is it
they
a-
had PCs and they loved it.
Is it a first-person shooter?
Yeah.
Right. Far Cry 1 is made by the guys who made Crysis.
Right.
And then they went off to make Crysis, and Crytek is the name of the studio.
Okay.
Mm.
And that Ubisoft maintained the rights for Far Cry. So it actually, Far Cry, instead of being a specific franchise, became like an idea. Like the idea of Far Cry was it was always in a big, huge outside open world. And the second one, you went to Africa, and it was all right. It was a bit flawed. Like you got malaria at the start, and you would just get malaria attacks.
Right.
Because each one's like a totally different location and style, isn't it?
And then the third one, which was really, really good, was Pacific Islands.
Right.
But the protagonist and his mates were just awful. It was the most dude bro-y, like jock, like everything you hate about American culture wrapped up into these characters. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then the fourth one was in a fake, like country in the Himalayas. So
what
and
was
all
it?
Really
was
good.
it Far Cry that had the actor that did the video sequences that they then did as like live action videos on YouTube?
What, you mean performance capture? No, something. I don't know.
Okay.
No.
I just got a funny feeling if there was something to do with Far Cry with a really psychotic character that they did live action videoed scenes that they had done of bits from the game on YouTube that were really good. But I may be very wrong.
Well, there's a fifth one on the way. Anyway, it's been confirmed.
I've enjoyed them. Yeah, I'll be playing that.
Cool. What about Thief? Did you play Thief?
No, I've never. Weirdly, Metal Gear Solid is one of my favourite series of all time. So it's not like I don't like stealth games. I've just never got into Thief.
Right.
My brother-in-law absolutely loves Thief, and the only thing I know about the Thief series is in Thief 3, there's a level that's so good it's almost become legendary with how good it is.
Right.
And I've never played it. It's something like called the Clock Tower. Like probably if this were nerdy enough video game people listening to this podcast, they would
again
tell
if you know,
us.
link it, stick as a comment in below.
But yeah,
is that first person as well? Thief.
I've never played it.
Yeah, Thief's first person.
Oh, okay.
So there was a rumor that there was a fifth one of that happening as well, just recently, and the internet went ballistic, and people were like, "Yeah, another Thief game, fuck yeah!" But unfortunately, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not happening.
Right.
Sorry, Andrew.
The studio is actually working on an all new Avengers game in partnership with Marvel, though.
Oh, okay.
So maybe they can take their gaming prowess and put it in a Marvel game, because we've not really had a decent one.
Marvel game ever, other than Lego Marvel 1, whatever it was called.
There's a new
that was
game.
Though.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not.
There's
a proper,
new.
But it was a good Lego game because it was the first open world Lego game before
There's
they did Lego Batman 2, and it's actually quite an interesting concept. It had its issues, but it was more interesting than the standard Lego games that had come before that, where you had levels and you just had to do things.
Right.
In this, you had quests and missions, and it was open world.
Okay.
You had a few locations that were open world, and then some locations that weren't. So it was a little bit more interesting. But we've never had a decent Marvel game, other than the top-down isometric ones on PS2 and PC back in the day of the X-Men, where you had four
what's
characters.
That called? No, there's the one. There's also the one where
Marvel
there's every character, every Marvel.
Yeah,
character.
Marvel Unlimited.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
That's it, Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Is that
Which
good?
had the Civil War storyline.
Oh,
It's
okay.
good, but it's basically like a 4-player isometric beat 'em up cross mining game. You are basically just smashing everything in sight just to get enough energy things to be able to upgrade your characters as you go along and unlock more characters. And it's good, but it gets to a point where the decision making starts to become a bit annoying on where you go and which side you choose and stuff like that. And instead of it being enjoyable, it kind of grates on you a little bit by the end. But it's worth playing.
There's a free-to-play Marvel game, isn't there, which is a hack and slash.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I think it's only on PC though, isn't it? You can't
No, there was one on Apple that was on that you could download. That's a free to play that was on iPad, and it's I think it was on PC, like Microsoft and Apple, and it's just not very good.
There's a new Lego Marvel Avengers. No, Lego. Sorry, let me get this right, because fucking hell, just when you just spend 2 hours talking about comic book movies and Lego, as it is. There's a new Lego Marvel hit superheroes game coming out. Because I think that's what they're called now, Lego Marvel superheroes, isn't it?
Yeah, Lego Marvel superheroes. Yeah, so
Okay.
they'll probably bring
And
out.
it's got them all in, and then Spiderman can do his web, and then
I don't own any Lego games,
and then it's webs in
never-
Wolverine's face, and then Wolverine cuts it off, and then Ben Grimm is the Thing, and he walks into a wall, And then the Dr. David Banner, sometimes he gets green and angry, and then the Tony of the Starks is the Iron Man's.
Tony of the Starks.
But okay, a Marvel game that I do think is good, but it's not just a Marvel game. Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah,
As far as fighting games are concerned, it's
pretty
bloody
good
up
one.
there, isn't it?
Crazy. Spider-Man 2 on PS2, probably the
Didn't
best. Probably one of the best superhero games ever made.
Okay.
You can literally swing around New York, and the way they've done it and the movements of the character on screen, obviously going to look well dated now, but the missions and what you do in the game is just great fun.
Sorry to be the one to throw it back to 1990 something again, but does anybody out there remember the X-Men
Arcade game.
Yeah, that was great. Still is.
Yeah.
With Nightcrawler and
Yeah,
Storm.
that's the one.
Yeah.
The one that was from the same series as Turtles and
Yep.
Simpsons.
Yeah,
Economy.
that's the one.
It was an economy game, no?
Yeah.
Four-player one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Very
think
cool.
the X-Men. I think different arcades had different type versions of those cabinets. Yeah, depending on
Yeah.
how much they wanted to spend. But
Yep.
the X-Men one, I'm fairly sure the big version of it had 2 seats at one giant screen, and then 2 seats at one giant screen. But it was the same cab.
Right.
Right, yeah.
So you
Yeah.
had, and then the map, then the whole and the whole game was across 2 screens. And back then, that was like fucking
Yeah.
so many pixels.
Yeah.
640 by 480 times 2. Fucking hell! It's like
Because they did the same with the
HD.
Turtles one. I remember there being one massive screen with like 2 sets of 2 seats at Sandown Pier years ago.
But actually, where you played it was in Newport bus station on the crowd around.
the what?
Crowd around, you know, when you just got 4 sticks and you have to bunch right up. Don't you remember the cafe in Newport bus
Yeah, I
station?
don't remember there being
You used
any
to have
games
Turtles
in
in the
there.
back.
Oh, right.
And we
I
used to
didn't know
put
that.
so much money into that game because video games were cheap back then. Like
Yeah.
they would just do bent things and screw you up. Don't matter. Like fighting combat in Turtles was quite easy. The bosses were just fucking
Ridiculous.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
aren't they?
It's the same. I think they did the Simpsons game as well. I
Yeah.
remember sticking loads of money in that.
Well, I bought the Turtles in Time HD re-release a
Right.
little while ago, and all the bosses are difficult, but it's the final 2 bosses trying to do it in survival mode like you would have on the original arcade where you've only got 3 lives, and then that's it.
Right.
And it's just impossible to get past the 4th boss. Like, you just can't do it.
Cool. Well, Injustice 2, talking about fighting games, Injustice 2 has taken the top spot in the US this week, so it's not.
But it does
In
have
actual
Mortal
fact-
Kombat characters in it, and you can't rip off Superman's head and shit down his spine hole.
Unfortunately. But it does mean that Mario Kart's been knocked off the top spot, and in actual fact, it's gone down to like number 5 now.
Oh.
Interestingly.
2 games neither of us care about.
Really?
No, to be honest, I wouldn't mind having it. If I went round somebody's house and they had a Nintendo Switch and 4 controllers, which I don't know anybody who's just spunked 500 quid to do that, then I would play it and probably have a really good time. And the
I
same with
fucking love Mario
Injustice.
Kart. I really do. And Injustice, I'm going to wait for you to put together an arcade cab in your house, Ross. And
Yeah, but it's a game though, isn't it? I suppose I could emulate it on I could, if it comes out on PC, we
Right.
could put a good enough graphics card in it that it could play the PC
Boom.
version.
let's do that. Good stuff.
Fighting in that.
Right, let's do a quick bit of real world news and get the fuck out of here, shall we?
Oh, real world. Real
Oh, it's going to be too late. I was going to say
news.
register to vote, but it'll be over by then, won't it?
Yes, it will. If you didn't register to vote, you've missed your opportunity.
Dickheads.
The deadline was midnight on the 22nd, I do believe. 22nd of May. Still, this is irrelevant because you've already missed it. So, real world news for you. Dubai, not only have they released...
Bye.
Dubai.
Bye.
Not only have they started rolling out their drone taxi service. Have you seen that at all? Adam?
Gold Humvees that are remote control.
They are 4 quadcopter drone
Right.
taxi cabs. It's a fucking huge big quadcopter with a cab underneath it, and you get in it and it flies you to where you want to go.
Seriously?
Yes.
Brilliant.
What?
Yes. In Dubai, yeah. This is a real thing.
Yeah, but how does that even, like, what about, like...
What about everything?
Yeah, like...
What
What
about other drones? What about...
What if it crashes into something else, like a plane coming down, like into the airport?
It's a thing.
Or like,
it's a thing. I'll
Don't
link
care.
it
It's the
below.
closest we're
Wow.
ever going to get to a hoverboard.
Yes, it's true.
I don't know. There's those ones out there by that American family, but you need a metal floor for it to
That's
work.
it. I've seen them. Yeah.
Is it a magnet one?
Magnet based. Yeah, it's beautiful,
Okay.
but you need a metal floor for it to work.
Okay.
So
So it doesn't have to be super cooled. It's not that one.
No, it was that one, but they develop it a lot further.
yeah,
Didn't
yeah,
have to be
they've
super cool.
gone.
Didn't have to be super cool.
Yeah,
Right,
they've
okay.
gone to a real good level with it where it works really well. But you need a metal floor.
Anyway, so not only have Dubai rolled out a bunch of drone taxis, they've also announced their first robot police officer.
Really,
He's going to hit the streets by
Well, see,
2030.
it's just going to
Dead or
deal.
alive, you are coming with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what is he going to deal with? He's just going to like.
I guess inquiries and things.
Yeah,
He speaks a load of languages. Let me just look up the.
Clarence
the
Boddicker,
information.
you're wanted for murder.
He's 5'5" tall, and he weighs 100 kilograms, and he can speak 6 languages, and is designed to read facial expressions. So I guess you could talk to him if you were worried or concerned about something.
So it's like an
They'd
upgrade of
understand.
Asimov, the
Yeah.
Honda robot that
Yeah.
registers people's facial expressions, registers their face, takes their name, and then will go and get drink orders and move out of people's way while it's carrying a tray and stuff. It's like an upgrade of that then, isn't it? It's just got more information in it. So like you could go up to it and go, where are local pisses? Because I'm drunk and I shouldn't be because I'm in Dubai. And he'll go, that way, sir. Please don't get arrested.
Well, this one would probably dob you in, wouldn't he?
Well, yeah.
I would imagine. Because,
You are drunk. Lay on the floor and put your arms behind your back and wait for an actual officer of the law to come and arrest you.
But they're going to roll out a whole force of these things, as I say, by 2030.
Wow.
You have been caught stealing. We will immediately remove your left hand.
Yeah, it's going
Please
iRobot, isn't it?
insert your left hand into...
The guillotine in my chest. Hello, you look like you have done something
Please
illegal.
deposit fingers here.
As we do with most people in Dubai, we will either chop off a hand or remove your head.
You have been found guilty of adultery. Please stand in the square and be stoned to death.
It is amazing that like Dubai is like allies with like Britain and America politically, though most of the things that happen in that area that are quite horrific are things that America and Britain go to war with other countries over. But they're allies with them, and it's okay for them to behead people for crimes.
Yeah, 2 words, mate. 1 word. Wheel.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to... 3 letters,
Gold
mate.
Humvees.
O-I-L.
Gold Humvees.
So if you're worried about robots taking over the world, then, well, yeah, be
Blame
worried.
Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we've got a robot for Prime Minister, so it's already happening, isn't it? Strong and stable, strong and stable.
Right, let's get out of here. Paul, where can we find you?
Everywhere.
Yeah. Well, where am I going to be this week? Mostly in bed.
Or
You
Dubai.
I don't want you to come and find me. Or Dubai now. They've got RoboCop. But
Doesn't transform into a car, though, mate.
it
so.
doesn't. But they've got a little telly on their chest, and if you press their nipples, it should pop up to Rocket Punch Collectibles shop. And from there, I don't know if they dispense the goods for me, but I doubt it. That would be really handy. But yeah, please pop over on the interwebs. Just type it in. You'll find me somewhere.
Rocket Punch Collectibles.
Rocket Punch, yeah. Rocket Punch.
Rocket.
Rocket Punchers.
It's definitely Rocket Punch, though.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's a whole of a shop. So it's definitely Rocket Punch Collectibles. So thank you
Rad.
very much.
While we're talking about it, there's a shop you should go and take a look at in Ryde,
yeah.
in the Victoria Arcade,
Oh right.
Oh, yes, there
selling
is. Yeah.
retro toys and stuff. Go and have a chat with them.
Oh,
I've told them
I'll go
about
and have a
you.
look. Oh, brilliant! I'll go and have a look.
Ross, no, Adam.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Where can we find you?
Adam Gatcher Arts on Facebook and the YouTubes. If you're at the Isle of Wight Festival in a couple of weeks' time, I will be performing with a spoken word group called Reading Between the Lines, and also doing comedy show stuff as a hangover cure on a Sunday morning on the Cirque de la Quirk stage. So
Cool.
keep an eye on my Facebook page for more infos.
Good stuff. Ross?
You can find me fighting the good fight on the internet. Twitters and that.
Twitters and that.
I've been on Twitter now, and I for like about 4 weeks now.
Twitter.
Bloody marvellous.
Twitter warrior.
Fair enough. So that's where you can find Ross this week. Oh, and also uploading pictures to our Instagram,
Yeah, I'm
I
going to take
expect.
some more pictures and put them on their Instagram.
Good stuff. And you can find us, of course, and me, because I've not really had a chance to do much else, but the Snoo with the Crew page is on Facebook. Do go over and give us a like. And you can find our podcast on Stitcher, Libsyn, the app on your phone, iTunes, and all the usual places. And all likes, subscriptions, and comments are greatly received. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you all next week. Say goodbye, guys.
Sure are you lot.
Goodbye.